Last time on Square Roots, Faye wrecks all the gatekeepers. Get 'em! Don't tell me how I can and can't play JRPGs, you gatekeeping jerks. And today I'm not a real gamer girl. You know what? You're not a real gamer guy. Man. Probably just play dumb games like Call of Duty for children babies. Also, he adopts a brand new baby Terra.
And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zant.
Hello, my name is Matthew Van Zant.
John
Such
Soylent
a pleasure to be
Brandon.
Here.
Hello, I am John Soylent Brandon, and I'm made of people.
Do you think that's the first time we've called him John Soylent Brandon? I wonder.
I think so.
I wonder.
I did. Maybe you remember back when in 2016.
Somebody talked about putting a wiki together at one point, but I don't think it ever happened, which is a real bummer because we could look it up.
Of Soylent, and I was drinking it, and I really liked it.
No,
yes,
I don't remember that.
I remember. All of
Yeah,
the CEOs were drinking this for a while.
Yeah,
They were like, we don't eat
this.
anymore. We just have Soylent all the time.
Oh.
I thought it was pretty good, and then apparently only the worst nerds drink Soylent. It's like, no, I just don't like having breakfast, so it's so it's something to have that's quick.
Well, it did turn out to be people.
Right, that was the only problem, really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It really optimizes my productivity in those important morning hours. I get up at 4 o'clock and I do 2 hours on the treadmill, and then I bike into work, and then I check in on all my workers. We have a foosball table there, and those kind of guys.
All right, let's get through the intros here. Also joined by Vanessa.
Hello.
What? That's how you're going to do your greeting?
That's my famous catchphrase.
Hello.
Hello.
I think we turned it into something else, Jim.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs, one chunker at a time. And we are still playing Xenogears.
Oh my God.
I feel like
this has turned out to be a nightmare of a season.
I feel like we're really getting into the meat and potatoes of
That's
like
true.
what the characters are actually doing.
This episode has so many reveals. Really, it's reveal after reveal after reveal.
Love it. Well, guys, before we
John is angrily staring at his camera. John, are you there?
Yeah, what's up?
Are you there, John? It's me, Margaret.
Hi, Margaret.
John, your kitchen looks really clean.
Yeah,
Thank
we like your
you.
kitchen. I like your backsplash area. It looks very nice.
Thank you.
Very
this is
tidy.
My kitchen / living room.
Yeah.
Living room.
John hangs out in his kitchen.
It's called a great room, and you have
Yeah.
an open floor plan, and it's very trendy.
I lived in a house
I
just
actually
like that
have
once.
I have an open
when I was
floor
19.
plan in my apartment. My living room and kitchen are like one big long room.
This is one small room.
Not me. I live in a large, luxurious house. In fact, I live in the
a
Square
pool
Roots
and
house.
everything.
That's true. With a pool and everything. I mean, it all sounds way better than it is, but once you see it, you understand. It's actually garbage. You guys want to talk about some hot gaming news?
I do.
There's a lot this week. There's a lot of hot gaming news.
There is a lot this week.
Because there was like a PlayStation thing. We're not going to talk about all
PlayStation
of that.
State of Play.
Who cares? We're going to talk about the 1, 2, 3, 4 things that are important to us. 5.
I'll talk about my thing, too.
What's your thing?
The little new Mega Drive Mini 2, Genesis Mini 2.
Ooh. All right. Well,
Some
let's
actual interesting games.
you know what? I'm way more interested in that than I am State of Play. Please continue.
Oh, do you want me? I can go first.
Yeah, go
So,
first.
Sega has announced in Japan, but it's probably going to be a worldwide thing, a Mega Drive Mini 2, including this time, pretty much for the first time in any of their collections, they have a thing called the Sega CD. And they're like, oh yeah, we could probably put some of those things and charge $80
And then the Mega Drive Mini would be like the Genesis Mini.
Yeah.
And this is like the Genesis Mini 2.
Yeah. 50 games. So far, they have confirmed some pretty, you know what? I'm going to say some
Go
bangers.
through, tell us. I love the Genesis. That is my system.
What are the bangers?
Okay,
That's the one
Sylpheed
I grew up
for
on. Me and all the
Sega
other
CD
cheap kids.
was real cool. I loved Sylpheed for the Sega CD. Shining Force CD is a great collection of all the Japanese Game Gear Shining Force games. So it's 3 games plus a 4th like boss rush game. I have finished every single thing on like super hard in that disc, so I know that one pretty well. Sonic CD, which is obviously a great game.
Yeah, that's a great game.
Hidden Souls is a hilarious. Like that's.
Are
Definitely
you gonna say Panzer Dragoon or aren't you?
Well, first of all, this is not a Saturn, so no.
You're right. Sorry.
That's
the only
Imagine
thing I'm
if Hidden
interested in.
Souls would make an excellent Scare Roots streaming game. It's ridiculous with some awful voice acting. So, you know, it's FMV, well, like pre-rendered CG kind of awful stuff. I think Jim and Vanessa would enjoy it.
Why Jim and Vanessa? I would enjoy it.
And Matt.
Don't exclude me.
Popful Mail.
Why did I get excluded?
Popful Mail is like one of the most expensive Sega CD games, so it'd be fun seeing that again. The Mega Drive version of Virtual Racing, which is pretty good, although you can get a better than arcade accurate version for your Switch that is like 8 players or something bonkers like that. So you can always just play your Switch version. Bonanza Brothers, which is, who cares? That game is literally on every Sega collection. It's not even a good port of the arcade game. It's like if they tell me, oh, Virtua Fighter 2 for the Genesis is going to be on this. That game sucks. Why do you keep putting that in like Super Thunderblade in every single Sega collection when you have all these games you never re-release? I don't understand. Shining in the Darkness has been a bunch of stuff. Thunder Force 4, that's fine. I don't know what Magical Tararudo is. Fantasy Zone, the Mega Drive port, it's fine. It's Fantasy Zone. So yeah, that is, you know, with
John, half the games you named, I've never even fucking heard of. I was so excited for this list, and it was such a letdown.
Well,
Back
but
me
I
up.
mean, I
Jim, get my
think
back.
it's gonna have.
I haven't heard of a lot of these.
Okay, well, I mean, that's
It's
fine.
okay.
That's
This
fine.
Isn't
is
it exciting
this is the one
to
for the
experience new
true,
things?
like the true nerds, like the true lovers
Yeah,
of that
these
era.
are like deep cuts that I'm
Yeah,
excited
deep
about.
cuts. That's cool.
Although it's got once again, Bonanza Brothers. Come on, like it's like how remember every
Somebody
music
must like
game
it.
in the 2000s had
It's filler.
Britney Spears is Toxic on it. It's sort of like that. Anyway, who else has hot gaming news? That is my hot gaming news.
Oh, I can start us off because I want to talk about Final Fantasy 16, which had a great new trailer and announced that it's coming out summer of 2023.
Yeah, looked okay.
I had all my friends who watched it were like, "Oh, that looks terrible." It's like,
I don't know
dude,
what to think
it's
of
a
it.
fucking trailer. Like, what did you learn?
You're right. I would like to see a gameplay trailer for sure because it left me really
There was
wondering.
gameplay in the
what,
trailer, right?
There was, but it really left me wondering like what the game plays like. It looks a bit like something like Infinity Blade at times, which I'm sure it's not, but that's kind of what it makes me think
Well,
of.
yeah, it's like real-time combat, right?
I don't really know.
That's what it showed in the trailer.
I don't really know.
I thought that they said that the gameplay trailer was coming later.
Oh.
Like
But
this
there-
summer.
But there was combat shown in the trailer.
No, there was. I'm not saying there was not. It was not a pure. It was a lot of gameplay. But what I'm saying is, we saw it, but I did not, and not in a way that made me understand how it's going to play. Do you understand how the game plays?
Yeah.
Like, no, that's what we're talking about, not whether or not it was present in the trailer. Anyway, but it does. I mean, I'm interested for sure. There was a lot of like kaiju-sized summons, and like Bahamut and Ifrit and Shiva and I don't fucking Ramu, and there were a ton of them. And then they also seemed to have like human personas, and then the end of the trailer seemed to heavily imply that the main character is the human persona of Ifrit, maybe?
Yeah, the way that it works is it says a little bit about this in the trailer, that there are people that are known as dominants, and dominants have the ability to summon icons. And I think the the protagonists of the game are a group of doms, if you will.
Do they have any subs with them?
I don't know.
Are the
Let's find
summon
out.
subs?
It'll be in the next trailer.
I think they're like on a quest for subs, probably.
Yeah.
I am upset that it is not cute.
Yeah, I will say that it looks kind of boring.
It looks like
It looks
the
very
same
Western
kind of style as 15 was. And what
Or
a Final Fantasy
modern-
used to do is it used to like mix it up,
Yeah,
you know?
I'm ready for a Final Fantasy 9 of the teens.
Yeah.
A cute one that's a throwback and like reminds you of the good old days of the series.
Yeah, just like a cute little guy being like, my dick is my tail, or whatever it is you guys claim about that. But, you know, I
guys?
think it... Yeah, I wasn't involved
She
in
wasn't
that.
on that series.
She was very involved in that season. Don't let her gaslight us into believing she was not. She was on half the episodes.
That's true. But nevertheless, I want a cute little Vivi guy.
Yeah.
I want cute little guys doing cute little things in Final Fantasy. Bring that back.
I agree with you 100%, but clearly this game is already very well on its way to being made, and they're not going to stop and turn it into a cute game.
This game's been in development for 4 years. So,
So it's probably,
they're
at this
gonna
point,
be-
we kind of have to accept it for what it is. But I like, hopefully Final Fantasy 17, though honestly, let's be real. What if Final Fantasy 18 was the throwback? And that's just what they did with this series until all of our fucking grandchildren are dead. Is every 9th game they do a throwback.
It's possible.
All right, we got weird.
That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it looked a bit like
Play
you
when it comes
played. It looked a bit like you. I mean, I guess you said you control your summons, but it looked a lot like you were controlling the kaijus themselves in the trailer. And you're like, I'm down for some kaiju stomping around. Like, give me some giant fucking monsters. I love giant monsters.
It'll probably all be like mostly scripted like it was in 15.
I know. That's the fucking nightmare. I don't know. Like, you'd think they would learn their lesson.
Oh.
Square is not made up of a bunch of idiots. They have made some amazing games. They've had
I'm
a bad
watching
few
the
years.
trailer now.
Made Quiet Man.
There is a beefy boy in it. He's very tall. A tall, beefy boy.
The character design looks Dark Soulsy or like Elden Ringy or like it looks like a Japanese take or like the Japanese take on the Western design to me that we've been seeing a lot of out of Japanese developers for a while, which is not like and that's not a negative take. It's just, I don't know.
It would make sense that they would kind of go for an Elden Rings style thing.
For sure, 100%. But yeah, the combat looks kind of Elden Ringsy, or maybe even like Bayonetta near like that Platinum style combat with all the whooshing around and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it'll play like. That's what it really is going to come down to. Is like if it plays like Elden Ring, guys. I got to be honest with you. Give me a break.
No,
I
it
don't
looks
need
like
any
it'll play more like
Final Fantasy VII
remake. Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah.
That like once I got
guess.
figured out how to play it and people stopped telling me that I wouldn't understand it because I didn't watch some fucking anime. I like that. That has some good combat.
I like the combat in that. Yeah, it's good.
I'm
It
just
was
sad.
fine,
Here's
but like I'm looking like I can't help but compare it to better games like the Persona series and Dragon Quest 11.
Well, I
that
just don't
do
think
modern
that.
JRPG, but do it super well and fun
I think
and amazing.
because Square has like Bravely Default, and they're like, well, that's our classic style turn-based RPG.
I mean, they have several series like that at this point, don't they?
It's true, but I would say their biggest one is Bravely Default. You may disagree.
Yeah, I guess I understand that. I'm just saying I'm not thrilled with it, and I would like to see them maybe utilize classic JRPG style combat in new ways instead of trying to mimic
Yeah, and I just
action
wish
games.
that
I'm not
Bravely
saying that
Default
like I hate
didn't
like
look
I'm not
like-
saying it's a deal breaker. It's just I'm not thrilled about it. That's okay. I can be not happy about it.
especially the last Bravely Default, the one that just came out on Switch. All the characters look like hideous, shiny,
Oh yeah.
Precious
didn't play
Moments dolls. It's
Wasn't it 2D 3D? Was the new Bravely Default a 2D 3D
yeah,
game?
3D characters with like really beautiful 2D backgrounds and stuff. It looks nice, except for the character design, which is awful.
You know what? The character design has been bad in all of them, John. Bravely Default 1, they all looked like children. And they weren't supposed to be children. And some of those children were very sluttily dressed, even for the American release.
Does anyone else want to talk about who Diablo?
Can I, and then I won't, because does anybody else want to talk about Street Fighter?
It's my encouragement.
No.
Okay. I figure, let me get it out of the way. Okay. I watched the trailer for the new Street Fighter 6, and listen, it's going to be a Street Fighter game very clearly, but it definitely looks a bit like a Tony Hawk Underground. Like,
what?
You are definitely going to be running around in 3D environments in fucking Street Fighter 6. Yup.
Really?
Yup. It looks like you'll still have... It looks more like a Tony Hawk Underground where it's like... You'll run... I don't know for sure, because there's not a ton in the trailer, but it looks like you'll be running around in the world and then getting in fights, maybe. Kind of like in Tony Hawk Underground, you would run around the world and get into skating or whatever. However that game worked. You know what I'm talking about. Seems fucking weird.
I never played it, but I saw it back in the video game magazine.
Didn't work for that game, but probably won't work for this one. But who fucking knows? Why not try something new, Street Fighter? Go for it. I say, go for it.
I did like Zangief's new
back,
tights.
baby.
His tights looked very nice.
I said there was a leak of a supposed leak of the roster that I sent earlier. We don't have to go through it, but I wonder if there were any beefy boys. I mean, Akuma's gotten pretty beefy these days.
Yeah, Zangief in that...
Zangief is beefier. Yeah. It gets beefier by the year. He is now 7.5 feet tall.
Well, he always was. He was always
was
like
he?
7'3", yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of child-looking sized people, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a disappointment.
Wow. Why is there walking around this looks like Final Fight Streetwise? What?
It's fucking weird,
no.
Right? Maybe they can make it work. And even if it doesn't, like I say, try to shake it up. What's the worst that can happen?
That's true.
It's Street Fighter. It's going to
still
sell
have
no matter
the old
what.
games. Like, they aren't erasing them.
I mean, I'm positive that none of that stuff will matter. I'm positive that it will still have classic fucking versus and online versus modes and tournament style stuff, you know? And that's kind of more what's more important for Street Fighter these days, I think.
They know where their bread is buttered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do.
And I'm always interested to see what they're going to do next. Like, it really, I mean, 3 and 4 and 5 are similar, but like, they reinvented themselves with 4 and, you know, keep trying to push it forward. I don't know. They can't just keep pushing out clones. That's even worse. Mm-hmm. Anyway, who would like to go next?
Me, please.
Please do.
Hot new title dropped for Dragon Age 4. It will be
Ooh,
called,
baby.
drumroll, Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
Ba-dum-bum,
Of course, we all know what the Dreadwolf is, and I'm not going to get into that because it's a major spoiler for Dragon Age Inquisition.
Well, I mean, you can know that it's a
can
god.
we play Dragon Age Inquisition for BioWare? That's what I want to play. Ooh, that's
Not
fun.
quite
Fun,
there, unless we just
fun,
abandon
fun,
the 10-year rule, which is...
I think Vanessa wants to play Mass Effect 3, doesn't she?
Yeah,
or
she
Jade
does.
Empire?
No,
Or
you're right. I don't
Sonic
even know why we're talking
Chronicles:
about
The
it. I'm not
Dark
going to fucking... It's
Brotherhood.
months and months away. I'll forget this conversation happened. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah. Once we finished Dragon Age 2, I really wanted to play Inquisition. I did not.
I felt the same, and I did not too. And I want to get into it too. I played a lot of that one, but I didn't finish it.
Oh, it's great. And the Trespasser DLC, I believe, will be especially important for moving into Dragon Age Dreadwolf.
And I've never played that one.
Oh, me either.
Oh, well, you must.
Well, we must.
We will.
When
Well,
we do
you
it for
must.
BioWare.
That's not soon
Well,
enough.
Well, it's going to have to be.
All right.
Yeah, a year and a half out, Vanessa. It's going to have to be. Unless you
you're right.
really want to play Mass Effect 3. I don't have a dog in this
Year and a
race, but
half.
I'm just letting you think about that for the next half a year.
All right. I'm going to think about it for half a year. Then
Yeah,
I'll
see
make
what
my
you really want to
decision.
play.
Yeah.
I got your back, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate having the time to really parse it out.
Man.
There's no trailer at this point, but all indications point to it being a sort of direct continuation of the story that was begun in Inquisition and really solidified in Trespasser.
Release date?
Sometime.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what?
all we got was the title.
Yeah.
They said there's a trailer coming soon, so maybe with that.
That's cool beans.
I follow the lady who is in charge of the project now on Twitter. I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. Corinne something?
Bailey Ray?
Or Corinne Bush. And she is super cool. Seems to really love the franchise, loves the fans. So I have high hopes for this game.
No guarantees on it being good, but I'm very excited. I'm excited. I mean, Dragon Age, they haven't fucked him up yet, really. The first one was the worst, right? So, let's go.
How dare you?
Well, do you think
First one was-
one was better than two?
Ooh.
I think you would be hard-pressed to say that either one of them is better than 3, and I didn't even finish that game.
3 is the best.
Also revealed at the State of Play was a new trailer for the Callisto Protocol.
Dang.
And a release date, December of 2022. So that's exciting.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how hyped are you now after seeing the trailer?
I'm like a 7.
Fuck that, I'm 11. It looks amazing.
It does look really good, yeah. I hope it's made by some of the people that created Dead Space, which is cool. It's very Dead Spacey.
Was Mr. PUBG in it? Was Mr. Player Unknown
No,
in the
but
trailer?
it is being developed by Crafton.
Is
well, not developed. Are they publishing it? I don't know. But Crafton is involved, so.
I don't fucking know.
But yeah, it looks really neat. I liked the narrator that was over the trailer. I hope it's kind of like. Do you remember the game Manhunt, the Rockstar game?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was narrated by Brian Cox the entire time. That would be really cool if there was something
Can we
like
play
that
on the show? What's that on?
Oh, I don't know about that, Matt. That game was
Did it play
not
bad?
good.
Is
yeah,
it
that game's gnarly.
It's gnarly and super right wing and all that stuff.
Ugh.
But yeah, looks good. I'm excited about it. And then also they announced that the much rumored Resident Evil 4 remake is indeed in development.
I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious. I know it's a beloved game. Does anybody on this show care?
Jim?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big Resident Evil head. I mean, I really like 7 and 8. So if
Yeah.
it goes in that direction, but I don't know. 4's, some people really fucking love it, and
It's not
I
some
don't
people.
know.
It was critically
it's okay.
acclaimed. And
Yeah.
is
it's
one of the best-selling games of all time, I think.
But some
I think
people,
it's some
yeah.
people.
But yeah, no, it's I'm not. I would say before 7, I wasn't a big Resident Evil guy.
You're the second biggest Resident Evil guy I know.
Well,
Who's the
now
first?
with 7 and 8.
The first is actually a lady, Bree. Our mutual friend, Bree.
Oh yeah.
I
Loves Resident Evil.
The tracks.
love Resident Evil. I don't know if you know that. I didn't play the last.
Oh.
The problem is that I find with good graphics and first person, it's a lot trickier for me to play because I get so spooked. But with
You should
bad
stream it.
graphics,
Streaming it makes it
and-
a lot
yeah, I
easier.
streamed most of 7. I'll have to finish that. I think
Yeah, I
I got,
remember watching your 7 stream.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought you did too.
and well, I love I've played most of the Resident Evils, including a lot of the
Yeah.
weird ones, and
I know that
think
you
those
played them, but I
games-
didn't know that you
Yeah.
were. I didn't realize you were a
I-
huge fan.
I did.
I think they're great.
I think I forgot. I did like your streams. You used to say that you were going to pretend to be me for bravery.
yes,
Yeah.
And I think it worked pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot that you hadn't played 8 at all. I think we both just watched Jim stream it and made fun of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will play
That game
8
wasn't
at some
scary.
point. And I'm
Yeah,
okay,
you would like 8 because 8 is not scary.
Yeah, that's good. Because I don't know if you know this. Other than
I
a
really,
couple of jump scares, the RE 1, 2, and the original RE games not scary. They're
No.
fun. And
yeah.
goofy.
But RE1 had a lot of atmosphere. Jim and I were
Yeah.
talking about this earlier today. I'm a big RE1 head. I thought that game was amazing, and then I had basically no interest in any of the sequels.
Oh, I love 2.
And
Code
I would
Veronica's
pick them
a lot
up
of
and I'd
fun.
play them for a few hours, and every time I'd just be like, I don't fucking care.
I think the
I've
Wii
definitely
versions were
played-
Until
fun.
7, and then
Yeah.
7 got me. I was fucking hooked on 7. John, do you want to talk about the last thing?
Diablo Mobile.
I don't know anything about it.
I don't know
Sorry.
anything about it either. That's not even its real name, but it's out, and people are playing it, I
Infinity?
assume. Maybe.
No, let's
Couldn't
level
pay
up.
me to care,
I
but
think
you know what? It's
we've talked
it's
about
an
the stuff we
RPG,
care about.
and it's related to the show, and I felt like it was worth mentioning. There's a
Well,
I have
Diablo
some
mobile
hot
game out.
gaming news.
Oh, Vanessa has hot gaming news.
The hottest game on Twitch is Morbius.
I knew it. Yes.
Everyone,
We shouldn't talk about this because I'll go on a rant
About how people should not go watch it in theaters because it was
about
all
how
big.
I think it's a big fucking AstroTurf campaign. And to get it back into theaters and to get it a little bit more money so they can justify a fucking sequel. But on the other hand, like, why not make a sequel? Who cares? I don't give a shit
That's
what Sony
right.
does.
Everyone-
Nothing they can do is good, so who fucking cares what they do?
everyone's gone so Morbius crazy on Twitch with Morbius streaming 24 hours a day and everyone going into the chat shouting
watched it.
Morbid up.
I watched it on Twitch. When I watched it on Twitch, there was a scrolling text thing at the bottom that would pop up that would say Morb up and like Morbin time, and it would catch my eye and it would make me laugh so fucking hard. So I really had a good time watching that movie, but it had nothing to do with the movie. Matt Smith gets to do like a sexy dance, and that's fun. And
He does do a dance. I did see that.
Like the vampire, none of it makes any sense, but at the very least, his fucking crazy vampire powers are pretty neat. Like, they do a really good job making that look pretty good. At least on the, 720p version I watched on Twitch.
You like the Morbin.
I did like the Morbin. I thought it was a good idea. It looked good. It had good visuals in that regard, and everything else about it was crap.
Well,
Matt Smith
Morbius
did a
has-
sexy dance.
Yeah, and it's
Did
so
you-
successful, and everyone loves it so much that it is coming back to theaters. So you can go watch it ironically in the theater instead of watching it ironically on Twitch.
I mean, that must be what they're hoping for, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's go Morb up and Morbin time. Let's have a Morb party and fill this theater up with Morbiates and have drink some Morbs and Morb each other until we Morb out. I guess.
Yeah, Morbius
What
is
if-
the straight guy's Rocky Horror Picture Show.
What if they hired local streamers or something, or what if they hired people to come out and make it into a Rocky Horror Picture Show live event for when it's in theaters? Have a dude there that's just fuck, man, I don't know what we're doing here, but let's Morb it up.
See, that would make me like it less. I like going to make a movie like that and making fun of it with my friends, which is why I like watching them at home more than I hate that theater experience, that Rocky Horror. No, thank you. No,
I actually 100% agree with you. I have done the Rocky Horror live experience, and I fucking hated it.
yeah,
It was not a good
Which
time.
character did you dress as?
None of them.
it could have been Meatloaf.
Or the
Eddie?
narrator?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Morbin time. Now, I would say at least they are striking while the iron is hot, unlike
Actually-
say Snakes on a Plane, which had that
Yeah.
huge memeing thing, but then came out 4 months later, and it was just too late. No one cared. I
mean-
did see that in theater.
I think that I did too, John. I think that it kind of worked for Venom, and Sony didn't do that. That was just a natural thing. The weird obsession with Venom and his tongue, and everybody wanted to fuck Venom and all that stuff. That really drove. I think that drove more dollars for the movie than anything else in it. But that's why I think that this is an AstroTurf campaign. I think Sony is trying to recapture that somehow. It was all over Twitch for a week, the same week it came out on VOD. I don't for a minute believe that Twitch could not shut that down any second they wanted to, anytime they wanted to. And it just, you could search Morbius on Twitch for a week, and it was there. Some of the channels stayed up for days at a time. I don't buy it. It was an AstroTurf campaign.
Now, I think what they did wrong with that Spawn sequel is they didn't film it like that Catwoman movie, where the camera was always slowly panning up Catwoman and looking down her chest. They should have done that with Spawn,
Spawn
long
sequel?
lingering shots of Spawn's
means
Venom?
tongue.
Venom.
He means Venom.
Oh, Venom.
Venom.
Sorry. Ugh, they're the same.
I was like,
thing.
did they make a sequel to Spawn?
You know what I'm
Todd
talking
McFarlane has been
about.
threatening that for years.
Those
Yeah,
two
yes.
things are the same.
They are the same.
Very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, John, it's
But you get what I'm saying.
Spawn is Venom. That's legitimately true. Spawn was Todd McFarlane being I can go do this somewhere else. End of story. It's Venom. Spawn is Venom.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry.
Well, that's it for
books.
hot gaming news, and now it's time for us to dive into the hottest segment of the show. That's right, we're going to talk about Xenogears. All right, roll it on through. Vanessa's sticking around.
Nope.
Level up time.
Dang.
Nope.
You know, listeners, I am going to try and slowly push the level up segment totally out of the show. That's the plan.
That's some
we
people's
start
favorite
with
part.
adding the hot gaming news, and no, I'm kidding. I love the level up segment.
I had a listener message me directly a couple weeks ago and was like, "Why is your intro so long?" And it was over half of the episode.
So, listeners, don't love it, is what you're saying?
Some do, some don't. But those who don't can skip it, and those who do can't create it for themselves if it doesn't exist, as we learned last week.
We've talked about this before, and we have talked about this before on the show, and the actual feedback was people love the level up segment. So,
Well, more people listen to the start of the show than the quest log is.
I do that for podcasts too. So,
Yeah.
it's not that weird. What if I don't care about what you actually have to talk about, you know?
People just want to know what we did this week. I'll go first.
Please do.
I
Okay.
watched a movie called
I'm gonna
The
get a beer.
Rescue Rangers.
Oh my God, I'm not going to
Oh, finally, we can finally talk about that without
I believe the
spoiling
movie's called
Papa,
Chip and
Pizza Papa
Dale.
and all
First
that.
of all, Chip and Dale is the name of the movie, not Rescue Rangers.
Okay.
So what do you think
Rangers
of
is the name
Pizza
of the
Papa
show that they
and
starred in.
America?
No, she said Rescue Rangers.
Metaversing.
No.
And what did you think of? Oh, I won't spoil it then. That was my bit. I was mixing up the two movies because they're both
Gotcha.
metaversy. Well, one's.
I mean, if you want to mix up some movies that are metaversy, it reminds me that I need to add something to my level up. Vanessa, please continue. I'm sorry that we interrupted you. Mostly it was John.
Thank you.
This is me.
Chip and Dale, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was funny. I wish that they would cast voice actors to be voice actors and not people.
I like Andy Samberg a lot. He really works for me.
You know what? I'm trying to avoid naming names, but I didn't have a problem with Andy Samberg.
Name and shame, baby. That dude's turning out to be kind of a transphobe, and I don't think we
That
should not
guy
talk
is
about it.
kind of a
Fuck John
transphobe.
Mulaney. I'm out.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm out.
Well, he had Dave Chappelle do a surprise appearance at his show.
And all
That
he did
has
was tell
happened more than
transphobic
once.
jokes.
Oh, I thought
That
you were
has
talking
happened
about Andy
more
Samberg.
than once. No, Andy Samberg is a delight and
I
a
was
treasure,
like, Andy
and
Samberg
we should be
sucked? I
grateful.
didn't know that.
All right.
But
I'm sorry,
yeah,
Vanessa. I derailed you.
I disliked hearing John Mulaney's voice. I don't know if it was because of my distaste for him personally, but I feel like it was that he's just like his voice is his voice, you know? It's like Jerry Seinfeld in that B movie. You can't extract the voice from the person. And
Yeah.
I
Vanessa,
think-
were you a fan of Mulaney before?
no, not really.
All the current controversy. Yeah, I mean, I'd watch a stand-up and I thought it was pretty okay, but he always seemed like such a smug jerk.
I don't watch a
That's
lot
Vanessa's
of stand-up. That's true. You would think that I would be into it.
I actually had never seen it, and then I woke up one morning when Matt was staying here and he was watching it, so I was like, okay, I'll check this out.
Oh, man. You walked in on Matt watching Mulaney. Good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like voice actors are great, and I love
Hang on,
voice
I'm back from my
actors, and-
walking away just to say I loved John Mulaney until recently. I thought he was the best stand-up around. It's a bummer. He's fucking hilarious. Though I totally agree with John. Like, I liked him in Spider-Man a lot as Spider-Ham, but then hearing the
sure.
exact same voice in this, I was like, oh, this does not work.
Yeah, it's like that's just Spider-Ham as a chipmunk now, you know? And they did the same thing with Seth Rogen in the movie, which I guess was more of a cameo.
It's a
But
pretty big cameo, though.
it was a pretty big cameo, and I just like, just hire a voice actor. They're cool. They're out there. They need work. No, it doesn't need work. John Mulaney, he's fine. He'll be fine without that Chip and Dale money. So that's what I watched.
But did you like the jokes and stuff and all the fun reference? Do you like Ugly Sonic?
I like the jokes and stuff and all the fun references. I tend to enjoy meta universes like that because really, when you think about it, isn't that just how all of our brains are?
You know, it's like we have real people floating around in there. We can be like, oh, it's Gore Vidal. But then also there is Mr. Clean. And also there is like Pinky, the Pac-Man ghost. And also there is Virginia Woolf. You know, everyone
why
is
was
just...
Gore Vidal the first one? By the way, I don't have Gore Vidal floating in my head. I
Well,
don't think.
you do now.
I love this little look. Everyone, write this down in your Vanessa notebook.
Yeah, write down these people
Inner
that
thoughts are like.
Vanessa's personality is like an amalgam of the people that she just named.
Yeah.
So
Four people,
write it down.
the four people I could think of off the top of my
Pinky
head were
from Pac-Man.
Gore Vidal, Pinky from Pac-Man, Mr. Clean, and Virginia Woolf.
I think my favorite bit in the whole movie was when they went to Uncanny Valley, and everyone looked like terrible early 2000s
Oh yeah,
CG.
that was great.
And they're,
Oh,
why
I
are you
loved it.
looking at me? I'm looking right at you.
I loved the combination of animation styles like claymation, stop motion, puppetry.
And I like that they
hand-drawn.
actually filmed like a lot of the sets were real miniature sets, like all the stuff where the little characters lived, and that was neat.
Yeah, I thought it was very good, and I do recommend it.
I do think Disney's lawyer should have been like, hey, this happened to Bobby Driscoll. Let's not make a character that obliquely references that.
What?
The guy who played Peter Pan like died of drug overdose after
I
being
didn't
kind
know
of
that.
thrown out by Disney when he got
Oh,
old.
wow.
And yeah, it's like it kind of ruins the fun if it's
That's
a real thing
too
that
real.
yeah, exactly. I mean that, and he was when he died, he was actually getting kind of a comeback. Like he was making movies with, oh god, I'm blanking on his name, pop art guy, famous Campbell Soup can.
Yeah.
Marilyn
it's like
Monroe.
Andy Warhol.
Yeah, he was part of Andy Warhol's troupe and had been starting to do some creative stuff with them, but then he died of an overdose. And that was too bad because, yeah, he got really badly treated by Hollywood, as did the main villain of this movie, who I won't spoil. I was like, oh, yeah.
Other things I watched include Malignant. You'll have to find the Lost Level Up to hear about that, because I don't want to talk about it all over again. And just recently I watched the first episode of the new season of The Boys.
Ooh, what'd you think?
I liked it a lot.
Which boy is your favorite?
Which boy's my favorite?
Oh, that's
they're
Let's
all-
do the Tiger Beat. Hang on, guys. Let's do the Tiger Beat. Let's do the Tiger Beat quiz version of which boy is your favorite. And the joke
Well-
here is that they're awful murderers, but we're going to pretend like they're boys.
Jim seemed to think that he knew my answer, so let's hear it, Jim.
It's obviously Huey. I know how much of a crush you have on that guy.
I do. Oh, that was such a stealth crush. I didn't think I would.
Wait,
I didn't, and
who?
I didn't,
Robin
and I
Hood,
didn't.
the fox?
Jack. What's his real
Jack
name?
Quaid.
Jack Quaid, yeah.
Yeah, and
Is
then
that now?
like,
Is that Randy Quaid's son? Is he also a big
That would be
QAnon?
Dennis Quaid's son.
Is that Dennis Quaid's son? Is he also a big QAnon crazy person that like, fucks his girlfriend on camera sometimes and does drugs?
no,
Different Quaid.
That's his uncle Randy.
Yeah, that's his uncle.
Randy.
Okay, Randy, Dennis, Peter. I don't know. They're all the same person to me. All I know is that I went down the wrong corner of the internet one day, and I really regret it.
Yeah. He seems fine. I did get a crush on Huey somewhere in season 2. It got me. I don't know. Wasn't prepared for it. No, it was a big shock.
What is
Now
there
I
to
live
be
with
ashamed
it.
about or whatever? Like, he's a
I'm
fucking
not
good-looking
ashamed
guy.
of it.
He's like a
I was
tall,
just
handsome
surprised. Exactly. Not my type at all.
man. Oh, that's a good point.
Oh, is this another one of those characters Vanessa likes who's like supposed to be a nerd, but you can tell that they're like actually super buff?
Yep. This is a
Yeah.
vigilante situation. For sure.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he is my type after all.
That was so funny.
So I was worried that it wouldn't be able to ramp up the graphicness from last season, but they did it.
Oh no!
Oh, man. I don't know
That's
that I
my
want
least
to hear
favorite
about
part
it.
of that show.
Jim told me that he had to cover his eyes. I
Yeah.
did not.
What does that
And
mean?
I think that, well,
It means I knew what was going to happen, and I didn't want to see it happen.
I knew
Can
what was
can
going
you
to happen,
elaborate then
and I
enough so
did
that I
watch
can make
it.
that decision?
You'll know what's
You'll
going
know.
to happen.
You'll know.
It telegraphs it.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's how I leveled up. Did I forget anything interesting that y'all wanted to hear about that I've been doing? Probably not.
I walked away when you were talking about Chippendale, but I had my headphones in and I wanted to respond to every sentence you said. I was like shouting. Are you a Tim Robinson fan now? Do you love Ugly Sonic? Tell us about Ugly
No.
Sonic.
Ugly Sonic was the Sonic that was in the first preview for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. The internet did not like him. They thought he was ugly. They re-rendered Sonic and put cute Sonic in instead. And now Ugly Sonic is a pop culture memory.
How is he in this? Was Sonic a Disney movie?
No.
No, it's a Paramount film.
Oh, so they just
Licensing,
they're just
bro.
paying for it, huh?
Yeah.
There's a
I
lot of
thought-
characters
Those
like
deep-
that.
I mean, Disney got those deep pockets, man.
Yeah.
Regardless of Tim Robinson, the creator and star of I Think You Should Leave playing him, which was a delightful treat for people like myself who love that show. I thought it was a great cameo that really made me laugh. Like, what a stupid, fun idea.
He didn't quite get as aggro as I was hoping. Like, he didn't go full Tim Robinson
He-
angry.
Yeah, I know.
He-
They should have let him yell. He's the best when he's yelling.
He gets a line or two in there that I think sounded a lot like him. Like
Yeah.
he screams. He does that voice. Okay. He'll be in the sequel. Jesus Christ, he will be in the sequel. So Vanessa,
Yeah. That's how I leveled up. Johnny.
Hello.
Hi.
What's up?
How'd you level up, my friend?
Oh, well, let's see. I watched some television. I watched the first 2 episodes of the show called Obi-Wan because my
Oh,
mom
yeah.
was bugging me to watch it because she wanted
Really?
to talk about it with me. Yes.
what did
for
you
real.
think? Like Vanessa and I watched it. Vanessa and I had a like hour-long conversation about it.
I thought it was
probably
pretty
the longest
good.
we've ever spoken about anything. I think, right, Vanessa?
Yeah, we try not to speak with each other.
I don't know. I don't see the problem with the show. It seems fun. I like the villain.
It's fun.
I like that it's relating to. I learned the Star. I thought it was all Star Wars, a reference to Fallen Order, but it's actually a reference to Star Wars Rebels. But there's a lot of Fallen Order. If you've played Fallen Order, you'll know exactly who the bad guys are because that's already been set up.
Yeah.
I think Ewan McGregor is great. I think what's her name, Reza. Yeah,
Yes.
she's a really cool character. I really like that performance, and there's a little child character who I think Vanessa doesn't like because it reminds Vanessa of Vanessa.
You did accuse me of that because I felt that this child character was seemed immature for her purported age in the series and also a bit too precocious. And then John pointed out, hey, that's just you as a kid. And I was like, wow, you always just like the thing that reminds you of you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hold a mirror up to me, and that's the thing I hate the most.
Exactly. It's like why I hate obnoxious nerds.
Can I? Can I?
Or why I hate really beautiful women.
What, Matt? So, Matt, what were you saying?
I would just like to counter Vanessa's hatred for that particular character by saying delightful, wonderful, fun, engaging, 10 out of 10, would watch more. More? What is it about fun kids that make, like, can they just put one of these in Batman already? Why is it that every Marvel movie can have a teen sidekick, but fucking Batman can't figure it out? So frustrating.
You know, if they do, all the viewers will be like, "Oh, they ruined Batman. They had
Good.
to
Fuck
put
those
a
people. I hope they
teen
all
in
walk
there."
off a fucking bridge. I don't give a shit.
Even if they didn't understand that the last movie was directly making fun of them.
Yeah, why haven't they? Why haven't I seen the hashtag woke Batman yet?
They didn't I think they didn't understand that was a critique of them in particular.
That's
Yeah.
a great
Batman
point.
fans are like that. Like, they'll watch the Joker and be like, yeah, what a great character. We love him. And it's like, no, he's awful.
Yeah.
And the point is that you're awful.
It turns out that fandoms are mostly composed of individual people and not actually singular groups that all just kind of agree on things. So the Joker is terrible, and the Batman is amazing. And
But the Batman, my main problem with the Batman is
I don't want to go there. Can we please not do this
villain
again?
is
I'll give you this:
parody of autism.
weakest aspect of the movie for sure. I mean,
all right.
Just not a lot there.
Otherwise,
and after years of like famous actors hamming it up, this movie definitely has not a lot of that.
I did finish
Damn it.
season
You made me go on a
2
tangent.
of Mandalorian, and that was fine. It was all right. But yeah, I'm
Did you
enjoying
watch
Obi-Wan.
Boba Fett yet?
No, I skipped
Okay.
Boba Fett.
Well, I have bad
just
news
don't
for
have
you.
time.
You're gonna have to watch like 4 episodes of Boba Fett if you're gonna
or
watch
what?
season
I'll be
3
totally
of The Mandalorian.
lost in the
John,
Star Wars
I
show.
Kind of.
John, I
Everything
totally
that happened at the end of The
disagree.
Mandalorian season 2 is reversed in Boba Fett. So I don't know what the fuck they're going to do at the beginning of season 3 and be like, hey, I guess if you didn't watch Boba Fett, fuck you. Because none of that shit's the same. None of it.
John, if anyone tells you have to watch 4 hours of Star Wars, they're lying to your face. You don't
I
ever have to do
think I
that.
No,
As much as I said I couldn't watch
Vanessa,
Sonic
did you
2.
watch it? No, she didn't either, right? Did nobody else
No,
watch
I
it other
don't
than
like.
me?
I don't like Boba Fett, and I don't like the Mandalorian. I don't like men who wear the helmet. I like Obi-Wan because his face is out and it looks good. I really
two
liked
episodes.
episode 3 of Obi-Wan.
Well, I will
really
keep
good.
watching.
I
I finished
did too,
watching
actually. I watched it
doing
last
my
night. It was
rewatch
fantastic.
of Police Squad. I don't know. A lot of people don't know about Police Squad, and especially I think younger folks. But if you like Airplane and Naked Gun, there was a 6-episode series called Police Squad that isn't streaming anywhere, but you'll probably figure out how to get to it. Wink. I would watch it because it's fantastic, and half the episodes are directed by one of my favorite directors, Joe Dante. Everyone loves Joe Dante.
Sure. Joe Dante's
And Police
great
Squad,
filmmaker.
Leslie Nielsen at his best. It's amazing. What a good TV show. The predecessor,
Leslie
basically,
Nielsen was a comic fucking genius.
yeah, and this
Like
was
his
this
physical
was-
timing he's like Mr. Bean levels.
They've taken they redid actually quite a few of the jokes from Police Squad in the Naked Gun movies, but I think they work better as the TV show. So
I love
remember-
I love Matt describing the peak of comedy as Mr. Bean levels.
yeah,
I mean, honestly, like if you can't appreciate Mr. Bean, like what the fuck is wrong with you?
you
like,
mean
it's just
Man versus
slapstick.
Bee, which we can't
I
talk
have
about because
not-
MBAM has the rights to all Man versus
What
Bee
is that?
talk.
What are you
Man
talking
versus-
about?
Oh,
it's the Mr. Bean guy's news. It's a
Rowan
whole
Atkinson.
Netflix series where it's him trying to kill a bee and basically
Yes.
destroying somebody's house that he's sitting in.
I mean, listen, like, is it going to be the height of comedy? No. Am I going to have the best time of my life watching it with my kids? Yeah, I am. It's going to be amazing.
It's a whole,
if
it's
you
a whole
like
series.
Rowan Atkinson, watch Blackadder's series
I've
1 through
watched
4.
Blackadder.
They're amazing. Well, I'm saying to the audience. Anyway, Jim, how did you level up?
Thank you. No, I played Fallout 4.
Why are you playing Fallout 4?
It's
a good
on
game.
Game Pass and thought it would be fun to get into again. And it
It
was
is a good game.
It's got mod support now, so you can do all the fun stuff. Like as much as you want.
Yeah,
You can
what's
have
the fun stuff?
any
I don't know what you
weapon,
mean.
any items. You can one-hit kill people. You can have unlimited VATs, action points. You do all kinds of cool stuff. And so I enjoyed that. And then I saw the first 3 episodes of The Boys that are on Prime Video right now. And
Are they back
I
in
really
town?
like it. They are. And man, I really like Carl Urban. Love
Yeah.
that guy.
Wow, I haven't
He
watched him
is-
yet, so I don't want to talk about it, but obviously.
He is
but-
good.
He's one of those
amazing.
kind of like man guy actors, like Tom Hardy. You know, like man
Yeah.
guys just like actors
No,
like
Tom
that.
Hardy? No. I do not see the I do not see the comparison between those two actors.
You
What's another
don't?
man guy actor that's not one of those two?
Yeah.
Tony Soprano, but he's passed away.
What?
See, in my mind, I don't
That's
think
a
of
wild
Carl.
shift.
I don't think of Carl Urban as a man guy. In my mind, I always get him confused with Eric Bana. So
Yeah.
he's more Eric Bana-esque than he is like Thor-esque.
I don't
or
know. I
whatever
think
you guys
he's
are
like
trying
a
to get
man
at.
guy.
Well, he's more of like for me, he's like a background guy. Like he's amazing as bones. He's like the best part of those fucking terrible movies.
He has a
And,
mouth face like Tom Hardy does.
He
like,
does
they both have
he's
the
got
mouth
that big
face.
jaw.
Perfect for Dredd. He was great in Dredd.
I mean, yes, amazing as Dredd. Perfect for Dredd? Anybody could do that, but amazing.
You know who
Right,
can't
like-
do Dredd? Sylvester
Sylvester
Stallone.
Yeah.
And
I
Rob
disagree.
Schneider.
That movie's fucking amazing.
Oh,
And
Rob
FYI,
Schneider.
I don't know if you guys have ever actually read any Judge Dredd, but it's pretty fucking stupid, guys. It's pretty dumb, actually. It's been around since like early Marvel. Do you remember how dumb and bad early Marvel is? You know, like every issue is like one super condensed story, and everything is just really stupid and wraps up. That's what Judge Dredd is like. It's not good. It's not good.
Movie's pretty good.
That movie's fucking amazing. Oh, wait, no. So was the Sylvester Stallone movie. Judge Dredd. All right, real talk. I watch that movie like twice a year.
I've never actually seen
They
the thing
eat
all the
out
way
of
through.
the garbage. It's so funny.
Let's see what else.
I thought we were talking
Idris
about man
Elba.
actors.
That's another man guy actor.
I feel you are naming people that could not be male actors that could not be less alike to me. I mean, like Idris Elba and Carl Urban can, and probably I guess Tom Hardy can definitely all play the same like stoic faced.
I mean, they're all British guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too.
Or wait, is Carl Urban
that's
Australian?
untrue.
He
Yeah,
might be from New Zealand or Australian.
Yeah.
No,
one
he's
of the
definitely
two.
from New England, in Australia.
He's
town.
definitely not
New
from
England.
New England. Where is
Does
Carl?
Oh,
hang on?
Carl
Can I
Urban
make
is
it a
from
guess
New
at
Zealand.
at a man guy that for Vanessa? What about Henry Cavill?
No. A man guy. A man guy's favorite actor has to be like a little bit fringe, you know.
What?
So it can be like, oh, you know, like, yeah, I like movies, and I really love Jason Statham. I
You know
think
who
he's
my favorite
great.
really hot man guy actor is?
Who's that?
Ben Mendelsohn.
Who is Ben Mendelsohn?
Look, Google Ben Mendelsohn. He's definitely a man
You know
guy.
who my favorite man guy actor is? Josh Brolin. Honestly, between Thanos and Cable, he has epitomized scruffy, angry, fucking 1,000-yard stare guys. And that's what a man actor is to me. That's me living my truth. Can we get on with this? Jim, level up.
That's it.
He looks pretty manly, but you know, a man guy actor isn't necessarily a manly man. It's just a man that men guys like, you know? Like, if you find some man
What's
guys,
man guys?
on the street.
That is
you
a
know,
terrible
like, just a
description
man
of
guy.
something. No.
Like Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
No, like if you're just out on the street and you go like to a bar, let's say, like a brewery, a place with like lots of like a craft brewery, and you get 5 of the men guys in there, and you're like, man guys, who is your favorite actor?
But it's like
They're
more of a. But you're expecting like a. Okay, so
and
what
you
about
think
like?
that 5 guys would say Carl Urban? Is that what you're suggesting? Because
Yeah,
you're
I think
wrong.
they'd be like,
You think 5 guys would say Tom Hardy?
yeah,
5 guys would not say Tom Hardy.
they would.
Okay.
You know what? I bet
What
5
is
guys would say Tom Hardy.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely not. 5 guys would say Al Pacino, and that would be the end of the discussion. And anybody
Al
that
Pacino?
said otherwise would get punched. Yeah.
No, but those are like men. A man guy is something different.
All right.
Are you talking about like a dude, bro?
No, I'm talking about like a man guy.
This is not a good description. Sadly,
You know, with, like-
dude, bro, I know what that means. Man guy, nothing. Drawing
You
a
know,
blank.
like
So here's
he
how I
probably
leveled
has
up
like
this month.
suspenders on and a beard, and he drinks craft beer, and he's like, I'm a man guy.
Is the guy that played Ron Swanson, is Ron Swanson a man guy?
No.
Oh, is Timothy Oliphant a man guy?
Yes.
All right, I'm on. Okay, I'm on. I'm feeling it.
What about Walt Goggins?
Ooh,
Whatever.
Walton Goggins. Sure.
Yeah. Or is he
Yeah.
too
What
obscure?
about Danny McBride?
We're just naming a stable of actors that are related at this point. Like, come on.
John
Yeah.
Goodman.
This is fucking next is going to be Kevin Bacon, right? Like that's what we're getting at here.
Oh, Kevin Bacon for sure.
We're just
Yeah.
going from like roll to roll at this point. God damn it! All right.
What about Judge Reinhold?
I want to blow my own brains out right here on the show.
You know,
If this continues, I'm gonna kill myself on this show. I'm not kidding. They're knives above me.
Bronson Pinchot.
Dean Stockwell.
Diedrich Bader.
Oh no, you know who it is? It's
Patrick Baker.
no,
Happened to
it's
this episode.
it's Breaking Bad. It's Mr. Breaking Bad.
Oh.
Wait. Old Breaking Bad or young Breaking Bad?
Malcolm in the Middle
Old
Dad,
Breaking
right?
Bad.
What's his
Old
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. Malcolm in the Middle Dad is his name. John just
Yeah.
said it.
Old Breaking Bad,
Billy
whose
Crudup.
name is
All right, I'm gonna
Bob
vote that we just continue
Hoskins.
doing this for the rest of the episode and scrap the rest of the show.
What's his name? Bryan Cranston.
Yeah,
Bryan
that's it.
Cranston.
Brian
Billy
Yeah.
Crudup. That's what I said.
Billy
If you
Crudup
were-
is like he's like the handsome. He's just a handsome white guy. He has like no presence.
He's not.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a very good description of. Well, you know what?
The
You gotta
boys
put
down
Southern
at
in
the
there, I
craft
think.
brewery,
It's kinda
they love Bryan Cranston. They'll be like, "We love Bryan Cranston. We love Tom Hardy."
You've never been to a craft brewery and you don't know any men, so everything you're saying is wrong and based on nothing. I would like to level up.
Excuse
I
me.
feel
Have
like
you
if
seen?
you hold on, I feel like if you ask 5 men in a brewery who their favorite dude is, it's the guy that plays Thor. They're
If
gonna
you
say
ask
that.
5 men in a brewery who their
Hemsworth?
favorite dude is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Hemsworth.
But you know what? Like Matt, you're totally forgetting about Vanessa's show in the early 2010s, which was called "Lady with the Dudes," where she would trim her hair, put on a fake beard, and hang out at craft breweries and take notes about what guys talk about. It was a
That's right.
hit, like sort
was
of
a huge
undercover
hit.
boss style reality show. And
that was on that was on the WB.
yeah. Remember that? Remember your reality show like that, Vanessa?
Yeah, of course
Yeah.
I remember.
What
Yeah.
was it called?
Also,
Lady
Vanessa,
with
what was
the
the
guys.
title of your show?
Oh, maybe what
called-
was it?
it was Lady with the Guys.
Yeah.
Lady with the Guys. Yeah.
I'd like to point out that technically the three of you qualify as men, and I do know you.
Right. Do I talk about Billy Crudup and Bob
Does anybody?
Seger a lot?
Tom Seeger.
Tom Seeger.
I don't
All right.
know.
Here's how I leveled up, and I know it'll shut all of you fucking dummies up. I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Ooh.
What'd you think? You like it?
Finally.
It just casts a spell on you. I summoned my dark god, and I begged him to divert your attention. I thought it was fucking amazing. It was great. Was it amazing? Yes. Was it hilarious? Yes. Did it scar me for life? Yes. Did I cry for the last 45 minutes? Yes. Did it touch me in ways I didn't know I could be touched? Yes. Do I think that it's better than most other movies that came out this year? Yes. Do I think it's better than Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? Yes. A lot. Grow up. That's not the same. I can like Marvel movies and understand that they're not fucking good cinema. Yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. It's amazing. What an amazing movie. But Hot Dog Fingers is the end of me. I don't know that I can survive it.
Well, what about the
think I
fact that
can.
Hot Dog Fingers became like
Hot
sad
Dog
and
Fingers
emotional?
sex.
Yeah.
It's that the characters became sad and emotional, and that those parts were delightful. And oh my god, the feet, fuck you. Mm-hmm. I legitimately not cried, but like I was
Playing the
fucking
piano.
I had fucking tears streaming down my face for 45
Wonderful.
minutes. I didn't
I
drink a
cried.
bottle of water
Same.
afterwards. I was dehydrated.
I cried through like the last hour of that movie, and
I don't
I
cry,
tend
but I'm
not
a
to
robot.
cry.
I mean, buddy, the minute it touches, I don't want to spoil it for listeners, but the minute that let's say the villain is revealed, I was like, okay, I understand where this is going from here. I got it. You know, I mean, the plot itself was, I don't know how to phrase this because I don't want to sound insulting. The plot, like, if you remove all of the weirdness, the overall plot is kind of pretty cut and dry, but also just like really a really beautiful, touching story, and simple. Like it's in its simplicity, it's amazing, and you plop that down in the middle of basically a Marvel movie, because that's kind of what the rest of it is a crazy, not necessarily Marvel, but a crazy 2020s CGI-driven action, adventure, fucking visual extravaganza. But, hot dog finger sex will, again, probably be the death of me. I don't know that I can get over it. I don't know. I don't know that I want to live on this earth anymore. When it squirted the mustard out of the fingers into the faces, I wanted to kill myself. I'm not kidding.
great.
Like, I wanted to die. I wanted to... And no, that's not true. I just didn't want to be around anymore. You know? Like, I just didn't want to be around anymore. You know what's hilarious is that you guys told me not to watch it with the kids. You said it was a little too much, and I said, okay. So I watched it without the kids, and it was so good and funny, and they heard me. I was watching it. They were, like, sleeping. And they heard me watching it, and they were so desperate the next day, like, what was that? Like, we want to know. And I was like, well, I guess. I guess maybe if I forewarn you about some of the things you're going to see, it'll be okay. I mean, one's 11 in a week, and the other one's 13. Like, what's a dildo?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, right? I got
think that
news
might
for you
be-
guys. They have TikTok. They know what a dildo is.
Sure.
They already know. The dildo's in the house.
Is it? Well, that's none of my business.
Well, no. That's not
But-
what I meant. No. That's not what I meant.
No, you know what? It's your personal business, Matt, and I don't need to know.
That's also not what I meant. Okay, this is...
I think that my issue, and I don't want to say issue like I have an issue with the kids seeing it, but I just don't know if I would get it. You
Yeah,
know?
that's kinda
Like,
what
I
stopped
don't
me
know
is
if I
I
would have
realized
gotten it like
I don't think that they would
5
get it.
years ago.
Yeah.
Because it's so sort of
dense.
about being an adult too, and being an adult relating to younger people, and being
Yeah.
at the point in your life where you're kind of evaluating the choices that you've made.
That's an excellent point. And more likely than not, we will never watch it. In fact, they never watch anything with me anymore. They would rather watch YouTube. Well, I loved it. One other thing, I've been playing a game that I downloaded from Xbox Game Pass called Edge of Eternity. It's fantastic. And
Also
I like it a lot.
known as, was it Kill by Kill? No, Kill. What was that movie called with?
Oh, you're
Kill
talking
by Kill, our friend Gina's podcast.
the Tom
It was
Cruise
all
movie.
you need
You
is
only
kill.
All you need is
Oh,
kill.
you only need is kill.
Yeah,
That was a much better name than whatever we got. I literally
Edge of
can't remember.
Tomorrow.
yeah.
Edge of Eternity is a recently released RPG built on, I think, the Unreal 4 engine that looks like a PS3 game with terrible, ugly character designs that are. I think that I don't hate them because they're going for more like realistic and less anime, but the results are weird pinch-faced monster people that I hate. And all right, so it is an RPG that came out relatively recently, and it's I don't want to recommend it to our listeners because I think that it's fantastic, and I'm really hooked on it right now. But with a lot of caveats, unfortunately, and I don't want to take up too much time because we've already gone way long on this.
Well,
so
we didn't have one last week, so it's fine to have a double-sized intro.
Well, I also don't want to tear the game down too much. So I guess the positives are it feels a lot like a PS3 or early PS4 era RPG that you never played or heard of. It is very flawed, but very fun. The graphics aren't great, other than the environments do look really good, and the environment it's an open world RPG. 3D open world RPG. You run around in third person. It's something more akin to the new Dragon Quest, but not nearly as polished. And it's a lot of fun. It's if you like JRPGs, it's a fantastic game. At least I'm 25 hours into it, to be honest with you. I think I might actually finish this game. It's a lot of fun. But unfortunately, it's super unpolished to the point of real aggravation. Just a lot of little things that just don't work. The menus don't make a lot of sense. It's classic JRPG in that you have weapons and armor and all these equipable things, and there's shops in the world and stuff, but you're not going to even come close to one of those for 15 or 20 hours of gameplay. So you spend the first 15 hours with one of your item slots, one of your equipment slots filled, You know what I mean? And like maybe 2, like maybe you find something. And there's like a crafting system. Now that I'm far into the game, it's really deep and I like it a lot. It's really good. You can craft crystals that you put on your weapons that changes the skills that you have. You can create new skills. Sometimes it's a little limited, but it's pretty fantastic. But again, like for the first 15 hours or so of the game, like you've got all these like crafting options and like crystal options and all this stuff in your menu that you just can't do anything with. It's crazy. Like, or like the map doesn't quite line up with the actual world. You know, you hit the map button and you'll be like, hey, why does the map make it look like I'm standing in the middle of a mountain when I'm standing in the middle of a field? It's not good. It's got some problems. But it's a fantastic game, and it's got actually got a pretty fun script. It doesn't have a great plot, but the plot is something along the lines of like aliens invading a fantasy world, like a fantasy magic world. And it doesn't do a lot with that, unfortunately. Like I've done a lot of running around in the world and like killing 5 animals or whatever. But the actual script itself is actually kind of fun. Like it's like playing a JRPG that has like a super Americanized script almost. Like I'm not quite sure. I should have looked it up before I talked about it, who the developer is or what the deal is. But I wonder, like it feels like it's a Western developed game that's like a big homage to JRPGs. And it's on Game Pass, and it's, despite its flaws, I can't stop playing it. I've been playing it until like 2 o'clock in the morning, which is weird for me. I'm
That's
very
so
hooked on it.
late. Is this why you slept in the other day?
Yeah, it is. I really can't put it down. And it's a lot of like, I think I sent some pictures. Like it's like a 3D world. So like, you can go to like stables and get mounts, but they're like big fluffy cats with 2 tails.
You did send a picture of that kitty. I liked it.
They're pretty fucking delightful, to be honest with you. And like it's got a bunch of really deep systems, but it just like they're all up front, like it's all there, but you can't access it for 20 hours. So it's a big problem. But now that I'm like past that point, I was hooked enough to get to that point, and now that I'm past that point, I can see that all of that stuff really works well. It's just bizarre how long it took to get there. And it's weird, like I've had 2 party members. I had a third for a while. They may come back. I've seen screenshots of at least a 4th, maybe a 5th. But like the majority of the game, I feel like 20 to 25 hours is a lot of game time to just basically have the 2 characters, right? I don't think it's like a 100-hour game. So it's got weird
more,
pacing.
Though, are you sure?
It's got weird, but yeah, I did end up, because I made, last week I talked about The Bard's Tale 4, which I played a lot of and I really enjoyed. And then I kind of got stuck and started looking around online, and the internet basically informed me that it was all downhill from there. And I was like, oh shit, well, this was fun. Bye. So I was playing this a lot. I didn't get stuck, but I kind of started going like, well, it's really bare bones, and I don't know that I can handle bare bones for, 50 hours or whatever. So I did the same thing. I looked it up online, and honestly, even the bad reviews were really positive, that it was overall like a pretty good game. And like, it feels a lot like a found classic JRPG. Like, it's very flawed, but like a lot of those games, if you can look past the flaws, it's a really good game there. So, maybe I'll stick with it. We'll see. Anyway, that's how I leveled up. Edge of Eternity! Everybody should check it out. It's on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, there's no excuse not to. I kind of am tempted to look up the developer. I bet that we could find them on Twitter and harass them into talking to us about their game. But that would require the 3 of you to be interested in it, which is not the case. So, do you all feel better now that you have had a break? Like, I talked for a solid 5 minutes after all of these very lively conversations. Everybody feels good now. We had a breath. That was like the cool down match, you know? Like if you were watching wrestling, after the big match, you got to have the cool down match. You don't put the big match on next. Speaking of the big match.
A Snickers commercial I just saw with Otis from the WWE, and he's like weightlifting, and the camera's like loving all parts of him, and I'm
That's
like,
cool.
wow, they made a commercial for me.
Ooh, I
You know,
saw a thing today that, speaking of wrestling, that Samoa Joe from AEW is playing Sweet Tooth, and Will Arnett is going to voice Sweet Tooth in the new Twisted Metal series.
Is Samoa Joe? He's not from WWE, friend.
I said AEW.
No, you did not. He is on
I did.
AEW. Did he? He said WWE, right?
Well, we'll have to check the tape.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. That's cool. He's got to play him but not voice him? I mean, he's a big dude. He's got a great fucking mug. He can talk, though.
Yeah.
They're not going to let him talk?
No,
they're
no,
doing
no,
an
no,
Arnold
voice.
Schwarzenegger on him, like from
Sucks.
the Hercules.
That dude knows how to fucking handle a mic. I know that. I've watched him do it.
I got a question.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How's that guy doing? That guy who sometimes when we're playing PUBG, he's around.
Oh,
That
right.
Paul tested positive again this morning.
Was it the Dave Matthews variant?
Vanessa, we love you, but I assume that you're going to say goodbye.
I can stay if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would love you to.
I always
Why
love-
not?
Yeah.
Hey, none of the rest of us played it. Why should
Hey,
you have?
That's not true. I finished that chunker last night. You shut your
I
mouth.
thought you finished it today.
Well, in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna stay, I'm just gonna kind of lie down here.
So, we start with wanting to go to Solaris, and this is a big plot point because that's like the big bad guy city. We've been hearing about it the whole time. It's this big floating. We all thought it was underground, but you see it floating. It's a big floating city. And the only way to get in there is with the Cybzyne, which is Maria's mech, which I think has her mom's DNA in it or something.
I think it's her dad's.
No,
right?
that was the other one. Remember Oxen?
But didn't she? She didn't. Well, no, it still has her.
Oh,
dad's
you're right.
DNA
He did
in it,
say
right?
that his
Yeah.
he like programmed his personality into the mech, which is why it's like helping her.
Yeah, and also like wasn't her and her dad's mech like prototypes of like a bioorganic gear? Or something like that?
And they talk more
Yeah.
about that in this chunker too.
Yeah.
So they're like, yeah, we'll have to take Cybzyne in. We're gonna take different paths to get into Solaris. And they sort of crash land on the surface of Solaris after, I don't know, something goes wrong, a little bit wrong, I guess. And Citan is there with Ellie and Faye, and then Faye, you can look at this hexagonal little shuttle area, which I guess is like the kidnapping pods. That's where they put the people.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. It kind of takes them away.
Yeah, and if you like even just click X on that once, Faye's like, I'm gonna look in there, and then it abducted me, and Faye opens the door in some kind of prison slave camp. And
Again.
I love this opening scene because you start off with someone who the script labels as a maniac. And he's like, he's sort of having do you ever see the movie Network? A Network style breakdown? Something's wrong with... No, I can't handle it anymore. Something's wrong with all of you, working like machines day after day. You have no will. This isn't living. This is... And then he gets thrown into a pit. The first person you meet is Samson, who looks... Faye is stunned when he sees him because he does look exactly like Timothy. You remember as his big muscle-bound buddy from the beginning of the game that he did watch get shot full of bullets. And Timothy is like, I'm going to be your new best friend. I've got an ID card. I'll help you get out of this worker's pit. He's been planning his escape, and he ends up actually needing more help than you have. But fortunately, Ellie also made her way into this area So you find Ellie too, and then you team up with Samson to escape through the tower to the rest of Solaris. And this is amazing because the first thing he does is he's like, well, I can walk through this disintegration field because I've got this ID. And then the disintegration field is like, invalid ID, you are now disintegrated. And he does get disintegrated. It's pretty good.
Oh, no.
Samson! He was normally when you get dropped off in the slave area, your brains are rearranged so you forget your past. But the guy who was complaining and gets thrown off the ship and Samson both, the rearranging failed and they retain their memories. But now his brain is rearranged into dust on the floor that you could, I don't know, use to pot a plant or something. It's probably got some good nitrates in there. What would you do with person dust if you had to put a use to it?
Mix it up in a drink and drink it.
Yeah, like a hot chocolate.
Nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird thing for you guys to say. What are you talking about? Why would you do that?
Nasty.
What else are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
Spread it into the fucking seeds so that their fucking spirit can be at peace, you fucking
now
piece of
yeah,
shit.
now their
what are you
spirit's
talking
gonna
about?
be-
You drink it.
Part of you. You'll have Samson dust ghost in your head for the rest of your life.
Circle of life.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true.
Why should we? Why should we not desecrate the dead? You're right, guys.
Just a little. Where's the
Maybe
harm?
it's
Why
maybe
shouldn't
it's
I?
maybe we're
eat the
actually
dead?
respecting them.
Oh, you know what? Never thought of it from that perspective.
Yeah.
You got me. You got me. What if it's respectfully eat the dead?
What if it's still desecration, but we just call it respecting?
Well, desecration sounds bad, but what we're doing is not bad. We're just tasting. We're nibbling. This is nibbles.
Do you remember
Okay,
in
this isn't desecration.
the
This is
MacGruber
nibbles.
movie where he goes to visit
God, that was a good movie.
his wife's grave and then they just fuck because her ghost shows up and they
Yeah.
just have sex on the grave?
I think did that show come out? I think it did.
Yeah, I don't think it was very good.
Oh, really?
Was he?
That's a bummer.
Yeah, that's
Who
what I
was
heard.
the Saturday Night Live guy that turned out to be like weird COVID conspiracy? It was Jim Breuer, right?
Jim Breuer?
Is that
Yeah.
MacGruber or is that Will Forte?
He's not an SNL guy. is he?
Yeah.
He's a former SNL guy.
No, he's a
Yeah.
Mad TV guy.
Jim Breuer was on SNL. He played
was
Goat
SNL.
Boy.
Yeah.
God,
Not
that's
Man, I had a-
embarrassing. You're right.
Guys, I actually had a dream the other night with Jim Breuer in
What?
it. And you guys were in it too.
What?
We were like all backstage somewhere, and I was trying to find you guys to hang out with you. And you guys were all in this room, and there were like celebrities in there that you guys were excited to hang out with. And I was like, I wonder who's in there. And out walks. This is 100% true. Out walks a super buff Jim Breuer, and I was like, why are they hanging out with Jim Breuer?
I mean, Jim, you saw the future, you know?
Yeah, he
You
was like
saw
Jim.
the
He was
future.
like a hybrid Jim Breuer, Joe Rogan.
Oh.
It was really strange. Yeah.
Boy, so twice as bad is what you're saying. Just
Yeah.
like twice as bad? Woof. Big woof to all of them.
Roy
All right, so we were
Brewer.
talking about Street Fighter 6 and how we leveled up.
Yeah. So we go into the tower. There's a little bit of a stealth section where you have to hide from these robots and not be along the same
Ribbits.
corridor as them. It wasn't too bad. So you get through that. They sort of there's a whole thing about the way that their slave society works, and there's like different classes of citizens. Are you a second class, third class, or first class like the city people? You go into the first class area and it's just like a nice mall. It looks like a real, one of those really nice downtown malls. I guess they don't really have, that was more of a 90s thing, right? Like all the malls are closing. You don't have these big downtown malls
I know what
anymore.
you mean, though. I remember when I was a little girl growing up
What the
in
Fuck.
city, and they did open a nice high-class downtown mall. It had a Cartier and a Tiffany's.
Ooh. Yeah, and I don't know how that, because Montreal has this whole underground mall that spans a lot of the city because it's too cold to walk around above ground a lot of the time. So you can walk for like a mile and a half or something in this mall underground. Goes.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's neat. I always loved it because basically it's like this weird a never-ending mall that's a bunch of different areas and going under. It's all following St. Catherine's Street. So yeah, you can walk like a long way underground without going above ground. And I always thought that was neat.
That's pretty neat, but I think what's even neater is a covered market. Like, I love a covered market.
Mm-hmm.
Especially those, like, Victorian kind of steel and glass arch domed ceilings running along the street. I'm all about it.
Or
yes, please.
I went to it was sort of a fake retro Spanish style covered market in LA. That was in Irvine, I think, actually. That was all right. It was kind of neat. But it was like a rich person's one where they made a new building to look like old outdoor open air market sort of things. But it was good. Anyway, so
I'm okay with like a tarpy ceiling too, especially if you're in like let's say like a Morocco, something like that.
I've never
like
been to Morocco. I've never been on the continent of Africa at all.
I don't think I have either, come to mention it.
I haven't really been anywhere Mediterranean either.
Wow, we haven't been anywhere.
No, I really haven't.
Jim, you been to Morocco? Jim?
Nope. Mm-mm. I've never been outside of North America.
What?
Oh, well, we need to go to have a like in sitcoms in the 80s, they'd have that one episode that was shot on film where they went to like Australia or France or something.
The one where they blew the budget for the season.
Yeah, let's blow the budget for the season and go on a big world trip somewhere fun, like I don't know, Qatar or Athens.
Scoot's World Tour.
Ooh, how about that island? That Spanish island where like the DJs always are.
Oh, where you can hunt men for sport?
Yes.
Let's go there.
Yes. Anyway, so you get to this mall, and it's very nice. And then Ellie notices that there is a big speech coming up. There's going to be like a big speech with...
They call it a dedication.
Yeah.
But I was like, what are they dedicating and to
well,
whom?
It's sort of like, when say, a country like Russia's is suffering like... lots of military defeats, so they have a big parade to show how amazing Russia is. So you forget that.
Yeah, like a pep rally.
Yeah, it's like that. Or like a Trump rally. You can sort of think of it like that.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to motivate the citizens after all the gates were destroyed, and then in a fun disinfo campaign. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. First, you get your tickets to the rally because there's a lady. It's sold out, but there is a lady who's like, oh, I can't go, and you kids look like a couple of nice kids. Why don't you go enjoy...
They really dragged this out.
What?
I said they really dragged this out. Like,
why don't you go enjoy the speech? So you go to the speech and start watching the speech.
And it's like the emperor.
Yeah, finally.
And he's like, we like basically planned the destruction of the gates. It's fine.
Yeah, it's a bunch of propaganda. Hang on, we do see I kind of didn't realize we do see the emperor.
Yep.
Is this the blonde guy?
No,
this
the
is
Emperor's...
the like metal skull face guy. Is the emperor.
That's Kane.
Graf?
Kane is the one who
No.
sounds...
Kane, that's right, Kane.
In my
Kane,
version,
yeah.
sounds
I
like
gotcha.
Cobra Commander / Starscream. The one with a voice like this. And Krellian...
I mean, Graf also looks like he sounds like fucking
Starscream. There's so many Sephiroths in this game. But I think Kane is going to be like a Final Fantasy VI Emperor. He's going to get killed by one of the bad guys. Like spoilers for Final Fantasy VI. I think he's going to get knocked off by...
If we talked about it on the show, do we still have to say
No,
spoilers
I'm
about it?
That was a joke. It was a bit. It was a funny joke. Don't you love it?
I thought it was so funny.
He also mentions that he has opened the door to McMahon, which I think is a Bible thing. Do any of you know McMahon? Any of you Bible experts?
Oh, yeah. That sounds vaguely familiar, right? Like,
Was
it's
that
not
in Persona?
Mahanan.
I feel like it was
Is it
Vanessa.
Mahaman or something?
Yeah. I feel like those...
Oh, that's like the light spell in Persona.
Yeah, but there was something in Persona.
There
one
was
of the
Mahama.
summons or something.
Mahama was in Persona. Wasn't Mahama one of the most powerful
It was a
demon
light
things
spell.
Summon guys?
Mahama.
Well, wasn't that the...
Oh, it is a
Mahamoon.
slight skill. Medium chance of instantly killing all enemies. That was Muhammad.
Muhammad.
Muhammadan. Muhammad. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, no one wants to talk about Bill or what's his Bill McMahon. That's what I keep thinking of.
No one wants to talk
Vince?
about Bill
Bill
McMahon
is that his name?
anymore.
McMahon? Ed McMahon. So anyway, that's where God lives, and that's where they're trying to go.
Enough with the McMahon jokes.
You will get.
And you have to cut that because I played dumb earlier.
Oh, what? Was he? What was Matt just interjected with something that made no sense to me?
I know. I'm very confused. It's all right. Moving on.
Why are you talking about Egg McMahon?
Oh, an Egg McMahon. I'd love an Egg McMahon. Delicious Egg McMahon. Maybe get it with some
Yes.
of that sauce, the hollandaise on your Egg McMahon. But that's the McMahon is where God rests, and it's the source of wisdom and power. And everyone's super excited, including the Gazel. This is part of his speech, so I guess everyone here knows the Gazel ministry, and that they're all that everyone's going to be immortal and get to go to join the Gazelle in this place, which will make everyone immortal. Have you noticed in a JRPG, every time the bad guys are talking about this thing that's going to be this ancient device where they're going to go and it'll be like super good and make everyone immortal, it usually doesn't end well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
What if it did in some game? What if it was just like, oh,
Yeah,
no.
what if the Mammon
It
machine
worked.
actually worked in Chrono Trigger?
That
I mean, it's a good point, too. Why do all these games have this exact same thing?
Yes, it is in a lot of the games we played. So he's very excited to show Solaris' real power. Faye's like, she starts getting flashbacks, or no, well, both of them start getting flashbacks. It's pretty interesting. But Krellian, they see Krellian, and I think this is the first time Faye's actually met Krellian, maybe? No, I think Krellian showed up for a second before. He's the real leader of Solaris. So he's like the power behind the Emperor. And so he might be the final Sephiroth.
Yeah, they say Krillin he's the leader of Solaris, but the Emperor is like the Emperor of everything.
Yeah. And there's a lot more about those.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot about that very soon.
Yeah, then you get a flashback to the Nissan Church 500 years ago, and Faye is hanging out there with Krellian, and Krellian's calling Faye Lacan.
They're worshiping at the Ultima.
Yeah, Krillian's like a military
Right, John?
general guy, and Faye / Lacan is a painter.
Yeah, and he's going to go paint Sophia. If you remember before, it looks just like Ellie. We see that big painting when
Ellie,
you're
yep.
in Nissan before.
This is this little flashback scene looks fucking amazing, by the way.
Yeah,
It
it
does
was a
look
good looking one. Oh, and he also mentions, so they're talking about Melchior and as
Melchior, another Chrono Trigger
are they all
word.
the
Melchior?
they're all the wise men, right? Balthazar, Melchior.
Yeah, Melchior was one of the Balthazar. I don't remember the third one. Balthazar, Melchior, and
But they're
some
like
other
the
one.
three wise men from the Bible, right?
They were the sages of what was the name
I'm
of
talking
that
about
city?
the Bible.
Zebulun.
Oh.
Hey, I think that I said this last week, but we talked about how this was at one point a sequel
Yes.
to Chrono Trigger. And I legitimately think that they just did not bother to change the fucking names. Like, why bother?
Well, I think
Who
they're
cares?
Bible names, anyways, and all this game's all full of Bible stuff, anyways.
Zeal. That was the
Zeal.
name
Yeah,
of
the
the
one I
magic
have
city
the
in Chrono
t-shirt
Trigger.
of.
Zeal. Yeah. Yeah.
John
They're
is
all
a Bible
Bible names.
name.
It's true.
Is this whole?
Matthew.
Are
So
we
is
all
James
such
and
godless
Matthew.
heathens that all fucking four of us know this little about?
What, the Bible? Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't. I know some about the Bible. I remember like Zebulun being a Bible place, but
I think it's actually pronounced
oh,
Beeble.
you're right.
If you want to.
I believe it's called a big Burble Beeble Eater. Right?
Right. Yes.
Somebody sing this song. Vanessa, I just set you up.
One-eyed, one-horned,
Yes.
flying blurble beeble beaver. One-eyed, one-horned, flying burble beeble beaver.
So Krellian says once
you.
again, the gate wasn't destroyed by the lambs. It was destroyed by the will of the emperor. But also we have some lambs defiling the Holy Land, Solaris, with their dirty feet. Then there 5 holograms show up. It's Bart, Billy, Rico, Choo Choo, and Emeralda, and they're like, "Don't worry, we're going to execute all these people the day after tomorrow." Probably through some kind of climate crisis, I assume. And they go to then Faye starts screaming like, "Bart, no!" And everyone starts turning around.
he's like, he is not keeping his cool in this situation.
They also mention that they will be destroyed. That all these people will be destroyed in the Soylent system, which should, since Ellie knew that much, the rest of the Soylent should not be a surprise. She knows that these people are going to be disposed of in the Soylent system. Where did she think they were going to go? Also, every single person who plays this game, even if you haven't seen Soylent Green, will know instantly what the Soylent Factory is, because it's called the Soylent Factory. And unless you drink that stuff that was real popular in 2016 that I like, was a crowdfunded soy beverage, Soylent, that I thought was really good. People are going to know. Matt, you're muted if you're talking. Okay. So, yeah. They can't.
I was screaming about how you already talked to me about this before the show, and you can't force me to sit through it again.
Don't worry about it.
Yes, John loved Soylent, everybody. It was his favorite thing.
I thought it was
but
pretty
the
tasty.
Nerds destroyed it or something.
Well, I think it got associated
was
with
tasty.
the worst kind of
I said
Elon
it
Musk's
was made out of
there.
people, so you shouldn't have been indulging it in the first place. But
I mean, I like Soylent.
this fucking part of the game is amazing. Can we just get to
Yeah.
it, please? We go
Hold
to the
on.
Soylent
Well,
Factory.
first,
And there's a great cutscene where the game is
Hold-
like, oh,
hang
here-
on.
All right.
First, we
Hang on.
people guards notice Faye and Ellie,
People here.
and that they are wanted, so they have to run away. They run back through the mini mall, but then they have to take a diversion to get to the sewers through the dust chute.
They're being attacked by security
I love the
cubes.
security cubes too, because they're like zany. They're like, "Must find
Yeah.
them, stupid. Where are they?"
They're doing like
Yeah, they
two-man
have
comedy
bits.
bits.
As they're running from the security cubes, they do run into a sassy guard who does turn out to be Satan, who knew exactly where they were. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, I saw that you. I figured you would probably come be escaping through this way because you need to get to the dust chute, which is in that slave area. So you go back through the dungeons to the dust chute. You do get sucked into the dust chute. Actually, no, sorry. Before you go to the dust chute, you go through the sewers, and that's where you're avoiding the robots. And then you go to Ellie's house. We can't forget that because she's like, "Oh yeah, this giant mansion is this is my house." Have you ever been friends with someone and they turned out to have like a giant mansion house and they didn't mention they were super rich before? Yeah, this has happened to me before, and it's very you're like, "Oh, I thought you were a normal person, and you're in this mansion." I remember one time, what's a polite way of saying hooking up? I made quick friends with a bear guy from the internet and went to his, he told me to meet him at his house, and there was a like full grand piano and grand escalier there. I was like, "Oh, Jesus." Yeah. So there was that. Anyway, back to this game. Yeah, Ellie has a big, nice house. Her mom is there, super happy to see her. Ellie convinces her mom that Faye is actually a secret undercover spy at the spy school where she goes to. And
Spice School?
spy school.
Is that where she learns to be a
Spy. You saw her go through
So,
4 years of
John,
spy school.
Can you
Yeah.
clear something up for me? Is Gebler the military force of Solaris?
I think so, and then Element are like the
Because
elite
Ellie is
for-
in the Gebler
Yeah.
military,
Kimmy
but she
Gibbler.
lives in Solaris.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Gibblers are the
But I thought
Solaris
that
military.
Solaris I thought Gebler was against
Nope,
Solaris.
Ethos was against Solaris
They are the same,
in the end
yeah.
because they split off from Solaris. But and Elements are like elite Gebler troops, and that's what Ellie was. Anyway, so she says he's an elite troop. The mom buys it and is gonna like go shopping. You meet a maid who gives Ellie a great weapon that's really fun. You should get it. And she's like, oh, let's go to my dad's room. He says I can't hack this computer, but I guess we can. So we start hacking her dad's computer. The dad walks in, Ethan. He's very upset that she's hacking and assumes that Faye is a burglar. And she's like, no, he's my friend. He's like, well, you can't, that would make you a traitor and you can't be a traitor. And she's like, I am a traitor. And he's like, well, and Faye's like, hey, I don't want to get in between you guys. Ellie, you stay here with your dad. I'm going to go. But if you try to stop me, I'm going to punch you in the face real hard. And the dad's like, wow, you're protecting my daughter. That's great. Here, take this key card or I'll let you go. Don't worry about it.
Well, they needed a key card to sneak into the Solaris HQ, right? Because they hit some door and you needed to have a key card to get into it, right? Or maybe you find that out later when Ellie shows back up. Yeah.
You're heading back. You're then going through the dust chute. That's where you run into Seitan, and then you're locked out of the dust chute. But then Ellie comes in. She's like, yeah, my dad gave me the key card that I think will unlock this door. And a flashback to her and her dad, and
there's a very awkward shower scene.
Oh, right. I shouldn't forget that.
And when she's at her house too, because she's like, I'm really sweaty and gross. I'm going to take a shower. And her shower is this big glass cylinder in like the middle of the room. And she gets in there fully clothed. And she's like, okay, I'm going to take a shower now. Yeah. And she's like, Faye, are you going to stare at me? And so Faye turns around and the glass fogs up.
But then she does the same to Faye. And she does kind of check him out.
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess at some point they get naked in that shower, and there's like a place for their clothes. But Faye loves that shower,
yeah.
And he's like, "This beats Seitan's shitty old tub, huh?" And then when they meet up with Seitan and go to the dust chute, Seitan's like, "Man, I wish I had my old tub." And Ellie and Faye have a little laugh about that because that was something they joked about. And he's like, "What? So then they have to take a shortcut through the Soylent factory, and this is Matthew's part. And if you think we're joking, that it is literally called amazing. The Soylent Factory. That is the name. It's not a bit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, these people live on a fake planet, and I don't mean that like fictional. I mean like maybe we learn that later, but none of this is real. But, so I guess they don't know what Soylent is, but still. This fucking game takes you to the Soylent factory, and the first thing that happens is you stumble upon a goddamn garbage can full of food. Mm-hmm. And Ellie and Faye immediately are like, gotta eat it! Munch, 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 munch.
They make really weird eating sounds, too. It's like, kong, kong,
it's awful. Kong. And to be real, obviously, as a human being that lives in the world, we all know where this is going. And what a nightmare.
Yeah.
And of course, exactly what you think is going to happen happens. They go into the next room, and it's like
it's
corpses.
2 rooms. They have they have the meat processing room,
like green
and then
people.
they have the slaughter room where they do see the corpses get slaughtered and cut up.
Do you think it was called something else in Japanese?
Or in maybe Soylent Green's a much more obscure reference in Japanese, and so they thought they could get away with it.
Yeah. I like to think that throughout all fictional universes, the one constant is if there's ever a factory where they're processing people into food, it's got to be called Soylent.
Maybe it's a raw.
I mean,
yeah.
It's not such a deep cut that you didn't happily guzzled down gallons of it when they named a product after it.
I thought it was good. Anyway, Ellie.
Yeah. And you loved the association with people.
I thought it was hilarious.
That's a weird thing to name your consumable product.
There's also a flashback to...
There's only one thing people are going to associate that word with. Food that is made from
and they must have known it when they named their... I don't know.
Yeah. It's clever naming.
Has that company gone bankrupt
considering it's a
already?
soy product?
Is it?
it's a
Because
soy
Soylent
product.
got blocked in Canada. You couldn't even sell Soylent in Canada because it was called a meal substitute, but didn't meet our
were-
nutritional
Yeah.
guidelines for meal substitutes.
Oh, interesting.
So anyway, there's a flashback to Ellie, her dad helping her escape because he realizes she's got to do what she's got to do, and the mom's is on her team too, and they stop the guards from arresting her, but it looks like they're gonna both get arrested for doing so that's bad. And you go through the Soylent factory, you see the bodies being made into people, and Titan's like, "This is something you had to see. I had to bring you here. I couldn't just tell you about it. You had to find out. But don't forget, as you walk into this room, you just ate people. I mean, you just ate Soylent. So let's see what it is. It's people. They are real grossed out by it. There's no vomiting, but they are real grossed out by it. And then they go to another bunch of dungeons that last forever and have a super high enemy encounter rate. This took hours. Ugh. They keep mentioning the ministry, and it's weird. Ellie doesn't know what the ministry is, but during that, she says she doesn't.
does.
She's like, "What is the ministry?" And
She explains it to you when you're in the square at the dedication, because the Emperor uses the word
I know.
gazelle, and Faye's like, "What does gazelle mean?" And she's like, "Oh, it's the term for first-class citizens." But in this context, he's probably referring to the
but
gazelle
then
ministry.
later she asks Titan what the ministry is, and he says, "Oh, you'll find out." It's very weird.
Oh yeah.
So you walk
It is
through a bunch more of these areas.
Oh wait, well, one thing about the Emperor's speech that I thought was funny. There's some like translation issues in the speech. Like he's referring to like one of I can't remember what specifically, but what it says is like we plan for the destruction of the gates, and like there's repeated words
I've
in it.
never seen as many
It's really
typos in
distracting.
like a released retail game as this one. This one's
Yes,
pretty
yeah,
bad.
there's a lot of issues.
You do walk over a gear. It's an Omni gear, and this. Remember this because this is mentioned again in a few. They walk into a random room. Now they're in like some kind of base, I guess. There's holograms of everyone, and they all give you information about like the vitality of these as animus.
And they're like animus
Yeah.
scores, or they're animus
Or compatibility,
reactivity
yeah.
or something.
So I guess
Compatibility, yeah.
this is sort of setting up something. And
I like that for Choo Choo and Maria, it says
well, yeah,
dispose
and
of immediately or something like
Esmeralda too.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
That's 100% fair for Choo Choo. Get that thing
They
out
get-
of here. Have we talked about how fucking creepy that guy is,
Choo-Choo?
by the way?
Well,
The
first it's a
hamster that
girl.
follows you around? Yes. The pink hamster? Oh,
Yeah.
I apologize. Have we talked about how
She is
fucking
creepy.
she is?
And she turns into a big giant,
She's like a
and
human-sized
she gets
hamster.
even bigger. Like it's great. So they get stuck at a door. They don't know the combination or password to, and Titan knows it. And then Ellie's like, "Why does Titan know this password?" And they keep walking, and Faye's like, "What's this place for?" And he's like, "Oh, this is, you're not supposed to see this. It's been around since the origin of time."
this is the
Yeah,
origin of
and,
time.
This is part of the ministry's longevity experiments. And 10,000 years ago, this is where we first started breeding humans. And Ellie's like, "How could a human live 10,000 years?" And he's like, "Well, it's just the Emperor left right now. He's supposed to never die. However, the ministry is different. They all..."
He says he gave up. They gave up
Yeah,
their fleshly bodies.
but now they exist as data in memory banks. So though that is the Gazelle Ministry that I keep voicing, the Brain Boys, they are living in that memory bank. They no longer exist, but they are wanting to breed bodies so they can go back into them, and that's their like eternal life plan.
They're like the Data Organization 13 in Kingdom Hearts.
Is that what they're gonna do? They're gonna live in people's bodies.
that is a plot point in Kingdom Hearts. Is
Okay.
everybody has a data.
Oh,
copy.
yeah.
You can
I
find
know
them
what
in the
you're
data
talking
world.
about. Well, so what they're doing is, I guess, Satan. It looks like someone has been getting all these animuses together and bringing them to Solaris, and it's Satan. Satan's been bringing everyone here because they're like the bodies that have been prepared for the Gazelle ministry.
For the ministry.
And Ellie figures this out. She's like, this doesn't make sense. How you've led us here on purpose. You've gathered all these people on purpose. You've taken us to Solaris. You know more than I do, and I'm a army man. So she's like, hey, you've led us here, haven't you? And he's like, well, yeah. And he's like, before you were able to get through a P4 level door, and you knew about the M project, you knew about Jesse. He doesn't even know this stuff. You know more about these robots than Maria. And yeah, you have been leading people here. And then a device comes out of the wall, and so actually first it goes dark. Everyone's going, "Gah!" And then a device comes out of the wall and clamps on Faye. He just dragged up 20 feet above the floor. And he's like, well, I can't move.
Above the floor?
Above the floor. And then all these screens showing him I really like this room. It's kind of like the danger room in X-Men, where the walls are like holograms, and it starts showing images of Veltal and Id, and he's like, why are you showing me this? Where is everybody? And then the Gazelle ministers come in, and one of them's like, don't worry, this isn't a whole scene yet. I don't know, I can send you all the script. Do you want to voice this with me where he gets to talk to the Gazelle ministry?
Yeah, make Vanessa do it.
Okay, Vanessa, are you there?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Hang on.
Vanessa.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Vanessa, are you there?
I muted myself because I was having a snack, but I am here.
Do you want to read the for Faye in this scene?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's see.
What is this? Why are you showing me this? Who did this? Ellie? Doc? Where are you? Where?
You brought about this spectacle. That voice is the one that haunts you, cursed untouchable one. Oh, God's beloved child, those who prevent our prayers, get, destroy, burn with God's fire.
What? Doc? These guys? What is this? Bart? Billy? Doc, what's going on? What are you all... Doc, answer me!
One of the Solaris guardian angels is here, Hugo Ricto.
This man is Cain, receiving the orders from the one known as Emperor. You've entered his realm and have been under his continued supervision.
The Solaris guardian angel? Monitoring me?
Oh, yes! We've guided Solaris and even selected the Animus, which have been drawn to you, and guided you here to Solaris.
The Animus is needed for our resurrection. These are our bodies. This is what we possess. Yes, this is the only reason we exist.
The bodies of Barch and the others belong to you? Is that true? Doc, what are they saying?
Why so apprehensive? Is it that you are sold out by the one you've trusted?
I'm not talking to you guys. Doc, answer me.
3 years. For 3 years I've been by your side. I had to determine whether you were going to be our enemy or not.
Revenge?
Yes, the enemy. Your existence is a threat to us.
It was necessary to keep an eye on you.
The one who ordered you to be watched was Cain.
We were planning on the maturation of the Animus and your termination. We also sent Hugo to you.
However, every attempt to terminate you has failed because of that good-for-nothing trash.
Even so, we now possess Animus. Hugo has fulfilled his duties well.
Is that it? You were in with these guys? That's why everyone... Why, you've had it your way all this time with us land dwellers. You already exist in the... You already own the world. What more do you
You
want?
must know by now we plan to resurrect God.
God will awaken from his long slumber after man has populated the land. Then Mahanan will awake too.
Aerial paradise, Mahanan. That place fell to earth.
Paradise. That may be a proper description. Our ark in the center of block Lord Mahanan is sealed in. That is the source of God's wisdom, a paradise of knowledge. Using that knowledge, we will resurrect the awakened God and build our ark to take us both to the great universe.
The construction of our ark to reign over God's forces in this great universe. The creation of the angel Malak. The M project was for that very purpose.
What do you
We
mean?
are orphans in this universe. We were thrown away onto this planet in solitude along with God. We humans were not born on this planet. Long ago we came here from another heavenly body. We are beings from an alien planet.
That's ridiculous.
This is true. You have seen the various regions of the world. Why do you think there are no records of humans before 10,000 years ago? This is the will of God. The God's revival has been fated since before Genesis.
We will be one with God. Attaining a new animus, we will once again return to the starry skies.
That is the meaning of our existence.
This is our supreme objective.
So, you're not planning on using Solaris's power to dominate
Of
the world?
course. What meaning is there in having control of a planet as insignificant as this? God has given us the right to rule over the universe.
Yes, only we do not carry impure blood, have the right to pardon.
So we will resurrect God.
It's been an eternity since our exile from paradise. If the time of God's revival does not come, we will have to follow the path of destruction. But,
Having obtained an animus, our resurrection is near. Next is God's resurrection.
all right, end scene, because this goes on for a long time.
It does.
Cut to Krellian experimenting on. He's got like Ellie in a laser table, and he's talking about her powers and how her drug overdose that led her to kill or attack people. I guess not kill. It seems like he didn't actually kill people. And he starts explaining what nanomachines are. This turns into like a Metal Gear kind of conversation. But he does want to use you because in her use Ellie in her DNA is an Ouroboros ring, which contains intron information. This gets real Scientology like.
Yeah.
Then there's a great scene where Satan is like interrogating Faye. Satan being like full bad guy here. He's got him locked up and he's like sort of teasing him, and then like Faye's going he's freaking out and he seems to be like antagonizing Faye, and then something happens, and the last thing that happens as the lights go out is Satan saying, "Now we may take our time and talk, Id," and Faye passes out. Back in Krellian's lab, Ramsus shows up. He's asking where he is. Ramsus has gone like full
All right.
nutty.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
I cannot fucking believe how long you two went on.
Yeah, that was a long scene. Well, that's the only one we'll do this episode. How's that, Matt?
I mean, it should be the only one we do ever in the history of this fucking show.
Well,
I
I'm
just want to
breezing
clear
through
up
this
some
stuff
things,
now.
though, because we learned a lot of interesting stuff there, and you
Yeah.
guys, you were deep in the script.
Yeah.
So, no shade, but, what?
That they
What's
want-
happening?
So-
Explain this to me, John.
Okay.
The humans are not, these aren't humans, they're all fucking clones, and they're all cattle, basically, and that's not even like, Not even the bad
Humans
guys.
were
Like, look at
introduced
them that way.
to
They are quite literally
evolve
like human cattle.
into like powerful or into animuses, which are compatible. Basically, the Gazelle ministry is dying and they wanted new bodies, so that's why they used humans and also to do like grunt work and stuff they don't want to do. Satan is part of the Gazelle ministry, I guess. That's why
He's the guardian
Yeah.
angel. One of Solaris's guardian angels.
so that's why he's in there, and that's why he lured everyone into Solaris. He has
Lord.
Yeah, well, we all have different regional accents, mister. Oh, I found out that Minotaur is the way English people say Minotaur. So the reason that I've been saying it this whole time is because I have a mom from England. So there you go.
It's fine. Nobody.
Yeah,
I don't think we ever
Vanessa explained
questioned
it. Got that out
whether
from
or
me.
not it was their pronunciation was valid. It was just funny.
Oh, I see.
Americans love laughing at other people's accents.
Everybody loves laughing at other people's accents, whatever fucking language you speak.
So, Ramsus, if you remember, he's like one of the early Sephiroth like contenders for this
Yeah.
game Sephiroth, but he's like losing it in a way that makes me think he's no longer the game Sephiroth.
He is like dangerous, even more than he was before, dangerously obsessed with Faye.
Yes. Faye this, Faye that. He literally
Yeah.
says that. Hey, actually, you know what? It's a total Marsha scene. He has a Marsha scene about Faye, and he's like freaking out. Ellie's like, he also sees Ramsus like down in some drugs, and Ellie's wondering why Ramsus is so shook up like that. And then he just wanders off talking to himself.
Yeah.
And Faye wakes up in prison, but he is the room lights up and all his friends are there. Bart, Billy, and Satan. And Faye's like, "Hey, Satan bad. Satan just torture and interrogate me." And everyone's like, "Oh, we'll explain it. It's fine. Don't worry about
This
it."
is another one of those translation things, because what I think Bart meant to say was, "You're wrong" or "You're mistaken," and he says, "Faye, that's your mistake."
Yeah, I think they do mean that he is mistaken.
Yeah.
Satan is the one who helped everyone out of the jail. Faye believes it when Billy says it, not when Bart says it. But Bart is very hurt by this.
Bart is real sassy about that.
Yeah. So he's like, yes. Satan admits, yes, I brought you here because I had to. But then I used the opportunity to fake interrogate you because I had some other reasons. I wanted to figure out something. But now I'm done. Now we're friends again. And Faye's like, really? For real? And he's like, yep, we're friends now. And where's Ellie? Oh, he's in Krellion's research lab. And so we got to go save her. Why only Ellie is there? I think, again, it's because of this Ouroboros DNA, which they do talk about for about 20 minutes. We could read the script, but we're not going to. It makes zero sense. Did you figure out what Krellion wanted to do with her DNA?
It's all
No.
fucking,
Okay.
it's word salad, man.
Yeah. And
Her true inner self.
Ellie apparently has a limiter in there that's been disabled, and everyone
Have we
now
gotten
they
to
want
the
to help
DID
Ellie.
stuff yet?
No, that's about
All
to
right.
happen though.
All right, sorry.
Because that's right at the end. Sorry, this is just a messed up.
I know, it's
junker.
just, you're right. Like, everything that happens to this is a fucking nightmare. The beginning of it's kind of funny because you fuck around going to a fucking parade or whatever. But after that, it's eating people, waking up in prison. It's a nightmare.
Everyone's now had their like full limiters removed. Before, everyone had their like partial limiters removed, but now it's like their real limiters. So they have full power. And basically this means that you'll be able to defeat like people like Graf that you weren't able to fight before. However, it does seem like Ellie's limiter just never existed, and they're not sure why she doesn't have. They're supposed to be born with it, and they aren't sure why Ellie doesn't have one. Jesse's there, and he's like shooting at some gates. It's pretty great. And then Ramsus walks in looking for Faye. And that sort of... and then he just runs away because he's crazy. And they do blow up a gate. A lot of stuff happens. And then they run into Emeralda, who they run to a room and everyone's there, including Emeralda and Ellie's parents. And apparently Hammer was the one who got Ellie's parents out. Except there's something more here. First, they talk about how they have to split up into two groups. This is explained many times, and you can switch characters at any point. It's not like you actually have to split into two groups, and I don't know why they keep bringing it up. But they're like, they tell you like 50 times they're splitting into two groups, and it makes no difference to how the game plays. They get to the end of this very last awful dungeon. Okay, real talk. I know we're almost wrapping up this chunker. I just want to say, I'm so sick of the dungeons in this game. They're so bad. I hate... like, this is trying my patience. I think this might be the second worst game we've played in terms of...
Is it worse than Rogue Galaxy?
Tedious.
Like, do you feel...
I said second.
Okay.
Well, okay. Bard's Tale is its own category. But other than Bard's Tale, second worst JRPG we've played. It's so long, and... like, some parts are just like Rogue Galaxy. Some parts are neat, but this is the first game I wanted to quit playing, and
I think
I
the
hate
fact
it so much.
that it's so like linear and makes you do everything.
And it's so slow. It's just like it
Yeah.
takes a long time. Combat encounters take forever.
Yeah.
There's my JRPG rule. If you have random encounters, they should take less time than the time between random encounters, and this game very much fails that rule, where it's 20 seconds between random encounters, and each random encounter takes like 3 minutes. That's too long. If you're gonna have random encounters, they have to be short and fast, not like awful dragging parts like this. So we get to the end of this dungeon, and you're at this like gateway launch pad. It looks like an area from Star Wars where someone's gonna have an epic battle on a bridge, right? And Hammer, you remember Hammer?
Yep.
He's the real splintery guy who calls Faye bro, and he's like, bro, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop, bro. Ellie's gonna come with me, and he's got a gun pointed at Ellie, and is like, yeah, you know what? You guys are super powerful. You're all superheroes. I'm just a normal person, and I have to do this because I'm normal or else I'll die. You guys can like use the superpowers to do whatever you want. But then Ellie's mom steps in. She steps in front of the gun. She's like, I too am a normal person. I'm doing this because I'm a normal person, just like you, but I'm going to stop you. I'm going to stand in front of that gun, and you will not be able to harm my daughter or make my daughter get into trouble because I love my daughter and I'll do anything for her. And he seems to kind of accept this, but then shoots Ellie's mom anyways.
Yeah, this was
Orphaned.
very melodramatic scene.
Yeah, the screen turns red. Ellie's like, does the thing like Ellie screaming mother as the camera pans up above her. That was pretty great. That was a real anime
Great. And then
moment.
they cut to the mom who, when people get shot in fiction, they die in the most dramatic way possible. She falls to her knees and then stays like that for a minute.
And then slumps
falls
forward.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good animation there.
Yeah, there is.
So everyone is very sad by this melodramatic scene, and then suddenly, from behind, a masked woman who gave Sigmund the Gatekeeper and Graf appear, and Graf is like, leave Ellie here, and Faye's very mad at seeing Graf at this horrible moment. He's like, oh, you've gotten better. And then another black gear appears behind Graf and starts shooting. I don't know if before that, actually, you do fight Graf and the Executioner. Mm-hmm. This is a good fight. I liked it. It wasn't difficult. I don't know. Apparently,
Yeah.
someone says there's a difficulty wall coming. I don't know if I'm still before it or not.
I don't know either. That's a good question. When I was reading, because
I mean, if
I
you
read a
don't
couple.
know, you're not there.
Yeah. Like I read a couple wikis about this fight specifically, and they said this was, I mean, easy, but also the executioner has attacks that can one-hit you.
Oh, you know what? Actually,
So you have to
I did have to redo this part, which was annoying because
Yeah.
there's like 20 minutes of cutscenes to get there.
Yeah.
Because she did what, the executioner, she did one-hit kill everybody in my
Yeah,
party.
they don't
And I was
like.
"Oh,
There's
no."
not a lot of HP in the boss fight, but there's some one hits that can make you have a bad time.
Yeah. So I did have a bad time. I had to restart. And then so you defeat Graf and the Executioner, but then like Graf starts growing and his mech shows up. But who interrupts this battle but Eric, who is, I called him Ethan before. His name is Eric. It is Ellie's
Ellie's dad.
father. She shows up and he's like, "Oh, you dote on your child too much." And they do start shooting the Executioner with like massive energy bolts from their gear. And Eric is like, "Ellie, go now. No matter what happens, believe in yourself and go on. We'll be happy to help any way we can. That's the least I can do to make up to you. Ellie, you're Medina's daughter, my daughter, no matter what." I assume Medina is a reference to Chrono Trigger. You know, Funky Cold Medina. Remember that? Anyway, so
Oh yeah.
his gear explodes.
Double orphaning. Total family kill.
Jesus. You're right, though. This is fucking awful.
Yep. At this
It's
point,
double orphan
the-
gear.
yeah.
I don't know why I'm
It
laughing.
does. And like
The
a
game's
span
terrible.
of
That
in a span
would
of
be,
like
like-
5 minutes.
Yes. The rest of if you like scroll through the game
Hang on.
script
Hang
here,
on.
the
I
rest
want
of
to
the
know what
script.
Vanessa had to say.
Oh,
Yeah. That would be a great Mortal Kombat finisher move.
To double
Double
orphan?
orphan.
Oh man.
You have your opponent standing there, and you just bring out their parents.
Like an orphanality.
Yeah. And, the parents are like, "Oh, looks like you lost, but you did your best, son, and,
And then,
we're still
and then
proud
Kung
of you
Lao
anyway."
slices
And
their
then-
heads off with his hat.
Or just like punches through their backs, and both of their hearts are in his hand.
Double parent kill.
oh, jeez. Anyway, so everyone starts. The script is literally a page. Everyone going ouch you as the executioner does some weird moves. Everyone passes out. And in Faye's mind, he sees a little child form of Id. And Faye goes, "Wah," again. And
This is where the Veltal moves on its own, right?
yeah, I like this.
Yes, because you get a cool like 3D cutscene of the Veltal coming off of its
Frame.
like out of its parking stall, and then it transforms into this cool red gear and flies through the ceiling. It's pretty awesome.
And then Ramsus
And
does
you're
come
like,
out.
Walter, what are you doing?
Ramsus comes out to block the Weltal, but the Weltal turns into that red gear. He's like, "Come on, I'm gonna kill you this time." And then it goes into it actually goes into a battle. It's like, "Oh, is there gonna be a final battle?" But no, the gear just smashes through him.
Yeah.
And
I love this fucking.
Back on the bridge.
The game itself is awful, but I love this shit. Like, yeah, sure. Why shouldn't your fucking mech morph into an evil mech? What a crazy goddamn fucking thing. What a stupid game. Unfortunately, it's
meanwhile,
also terrible.
you do get a cut to back to the villains. They're like, "Oh, he finally showed up," and the executioner's like, "Yeah, That was finally, it was really him, not like a half-assed him. And the executioner's costume vanishes. She's actually Miang.
Oh, your mom. Your mom?
No.
Yes. Somebody's mom.
No, it's just Miang.
Definitely somebody's mom.
Okay, I don't. If maybe you're referencing something that hasn't happened
Maybe.
yet, Matt. She's not anyone's mom yet. They see him return. Miang wants them to go help Ramsus, and everyone's like, "Well, he sucks. Why would you even help him?" And she's like, "Let's do it. Come on." Meanwhile, on Cybzine is holding all the party members. I know Matt really likes it when like they're standing on the mechs. I think it's fun
It's
too.
so fucking.
It's a very
just
anime thing.
Such a thing. It's so fun.
Ellie starts waking up. Bart's like, "Yeah, we were saved. We were saved by this mech when we were all thrown into the sky." And everyone else is on the Yggdrasil, and Ellie's wondering about Faye. And they're like, "Well, Faye's all right." And he's like, "Well, where is he? What happened?" And he's like, "Listen, okay, I got to explain to you a few things about Faye." And here's Matt's Faye corner.
What?
Matt, what's
Don't put me on
Faye's
the
deal?
spot. I'm not sober.
You wanted to you were so excited about
What am I
this.
excited about?
Faye's whole deal. Because Seitan explains what's wrong with
Oh
Faye.
yeah, no, it's great. You're right, John. Thank you for introducing my favorite thing, which is when fictional stupid games introduce real world mental issues as a plot device. That's right. This guy Faye has fucking dissociative identity disorder, but don't worry, he doesn't have Moon Knight dissociative identity disorder. He has oh dang it, I said it to Vanessa earlier. What was it?
Identity?
Hawkman. He's got a Hawkman DID because he's got a soulmate that also is around. You know what I'm talking about?
Who's Hawkman?
Yeah.
Vanessa gets it.
Girl.
Shira. Isn't that her name? Sheena? Shira? Shira.
Shira?
Right?
Shira?
Hurrah.
It's a real Hawkman
Shiraza?
situation. They're like reincarnated. They keep dying.
Oh. Well, in this, he's got multiple personalities, which is what dissociative identity disorder is. He's like, it's also known as multiple personality disorder. And his personalities are Faye and Id. Remember the Wizard of Id we met a couple episodes ago?
Super cool looking super anime red-haired boy
Yeah, that is
that
Faye.
flies around in our souped up super mech when it decides to transform.
And she's like, wait, Ellie's like, that can't be right. Faye, that would mean Faye killed all these people, and like Faye's the one who broke up the Yggdrasil, and Faye's done all these bad things. And they're like, yep, that was Faye. And then cut back to, remember when Seitan was torturing Faye and interviewing him, and he was all in that prison, the danger room? The reason he was doing it and saying all these awful things to Faye was to make Id come out so he could talk to Id in a controlled setting. I actually thought that was really cool. Like, that was a good anime twist. That's why he was doing it. Because he wanted to talk to... And so you get the whole scene of him talking to Id, and Id's like, yeah, Faye sucks. I hate having to wait for Faye to be unconscious so I can take over because he's, like, the worst. And then there's the coward who's even worse than Faye. And Seitan's like, wait, you mean there's a third person in there? He's like, yeah, the coward.
Oh, it is a Moon Knight situation then. Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Moon
there's
Knight, actually.
Okay, I haven't watched Moon Knight, but that's fine. So he's got a cowardly part to him that has like supreme control.
Cowardly
and
lion.
then Id, which is his like emotionalist
The
part.
Wizard of Id.
And it sounds like his father was the one who fragmented his psyche so that just the violent part was there.
This is real, like, deep cut psychology shit. This is like Carl Jung
Id thinks
stuff.
he's
Yeah.
the dominant
Like-
And
personality. Or the original.
Yeah, and Freud
Id
for
thinks
sure.
he is the original personality.
Right, but it seems like the coward has more power than either Faye or Id, and the reason that they've been monitoring Faye was to see if he was going to turn back into Id or get full control or what's happening. And Id awoke in the village, and that's why everyone died. And he does. And anytime Id shows up, Faye doesn't remember it. He never remembers turning to Id because Faye is a subordinate personality to Id. Faye is like Id controls Faye in a sort of weird way, but Faye can stop Id from showing up too.
Yeah. Well, according to psychology, the Id is like the instinctual part of you that you like really can't control. Mm-hmm. And then you have the ego and the superego, which are like the other two
Jungian?
parts
Isn't
of
that
Faye.
Freud?
I think
I think
both
it's
of
Freudian.
them.
That is Freud. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Jung does talk a lot about this too, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pure Jung, and then Freud was just like, "Oh, you want to sleep with your father?"
It's
I
not
mean,
a
that's
cigar.
definitely part of Freud. You're not wrong. Freud actually was not actually very good, right? Can we do you guys want to have that conversation about how
No, Freud was
that
wrong.
shit's wild?
Yeah,
And that's okay.
about how
and it's okay
all
to-
of these women reported to
It's
Freud
okay.
that,
Wait, what happened?
yeah, they were like, "Hey, Freud." All these women were like, "Hey, Freud, our fathers are abusing us," and he was like, "It can't be true.
Seriously?
You must just want to sleep with your father."
Yeah.
And that's how he came up with his theory, because surely all these women couldn't be
It's-
telling the truth.
It's
about
weird
the
how
abuse they were
much
suffering.
of like the general population's basis of the idea of psychology is based on Freud, which is I believe at least in actual, 2022 psychology considered like junk science.
A lot of personality science is junk science.
A lot of social
There's a-
science is like theoretical science, but that's not quite the same thing as Freud and his bullshit.
But like Freud and the id and that's all like personality science, right?
Jim
Oh,
took a
Jim, you
personality
joined the Church of
test
Scientology.
today.
Congratulations.
I got bored. I
I
got
hope that your
bored
daughter
and
doesn't disappear
decided.
into slavery on a ship, but if she does, maybe I'll see her here.
You listen.
Hey,
Listen.
Scientology's
Signing
bad.
signing a billion-year contract is a steal. Okay. Sign a billion-year contract to work on a boat. Yeah. No, but I did take the.
Has anyone ever shown up and been like, "I'm here to do the last 5 years of my contract"? I've
No,
done
because the church controls
years of
the
one
narrative of where you're at in your whatever. So you can't show up and be
Yeah.
like, actually, I've been
You're-
doing this
yeah.
for 100 years or whatever, and I'm a fucking
Yeah, like listen, you're
level 9,000. No, they're like, who are you?
Yeah,
you have
your
to pay us
thetan is-
at least $1 million to get to this point.
your
Scientology is trash.
thetan is really fucked up. Give us $1 million and then clean our boats for the next 30 years, and then we'll talk.
That sounds
And
like
maybe
the
we won't
worst.
rape your children. Scientology
you.
was actually pretty
But
dark.
also, I did take a personality
Wow.
test the other day, and it was the same. I got the same result.
You took
It's
the
I took a
Myers-Briggs test.
Myers-Briggs.
That's not the same. You're a dork.
I took the Myers-Briggs. Yeah, I was just bored. And I took the Myers-Briggs, and it was the same Myers-Briggs score that I've gotten since I was in
Man,
college.
weird.
so-
I
It's
always
weird how that
alternate
astrology
between
thing always turns out right.
INFP and
Just such a Sagittarius.
and J whatever. Well, it's just I never get the same result twice. So I don't know.
Oh, really? I always get the same one.
I never
That's
do.
funny.
It's always 2 letters different every
Oh
time.
no,
so I
John,
don't know.
that
Even
says
like-
more
even
about you
in-
than it
even
does the
in
Myers-Briggs
job-
personality test.
Oh.
Even in like job application processes where I've had to take like really long, like 2-hour long like personality tests, they always come out basically the same.
There's a quick cutscene between the Emperor and
What a
Satan,
segue.
and Satan does say that he thinks Faye is the Anonelby.
Oh boy.
And
Wait, did you spell that out?
I
in the
mean,
Anonelbe.
at least
Anonelby.
At least for a stupid goddamn JRPG with way more like with like delusions of grandeur in regards to their the intelligence of their plot. Let's be honest.
Oh, John, this is a mistranslation.
Oh, no.
Oh.
So it says NNLB in the game, but it's mistranslated from the German word Ahnenerbe, meaning ancient heritage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't really help.
At least this game makes the excuse for itself to have Faye as the chosen one, because let's be real, these people are all clones. So why would he not
He's,
be
like,
fucking?
not
Why would
even-
he? You know, like why would you? Like it makes sense at least in this. Most of the time, this shit none of it makes sense.
This almost feels like he's like chosen one plus, because as the Annanelby, he's not just a chosen one, he's chosen to he is a man of God who will lead the people born of this world to a new land.
This is the
talk like
destiny of the
he's-
contact.
He's like Moses.
I honestly found this part of the game, particularly with like the fucking brainheads, where they
Gazelle Ministry,
where
thank you.
they constantly reference God. It's like it doesn't work for me, this like sci-fi super advanced society that also is super obsessed with the idea of like some god. You know what I mean? But they
that's
imply that it's all basically like man-made, but they talk like it's all like destiny or whatever, like it's all legitimate, like
It's all
and
prophetic,
it's,
yeah.
that it doesn't work for me, because like these people should like either it is or it isn't. Like you should know you literally are the first human being that was born on this planet and are for some reason still around. You know what I mean? Or whatever the fucking story here is. Like
Yeah.
these people are fucking they should know better. But instead
So
they talk like they're zealots. It doesn't really work.
yeah, it's strange. I have a question for you guys. So knowing that we're really getting to the game, kind of explaining itself, which is really which is like kind of, from what I understand, most of what it does in Disc 2. How do you guys think that the opening cutscene of the game, which had a spaceship being like kind of eaten by this thing that breached containment, how do you think that factors into what's going on in the game?
I think that's what McMahon is.
I forgot about it.
Is that
That's what I think too. That's
Yeah.
what I think too.
None of this
Yeah.
makes sense.
I think that they're going to think it's God, but it's actually like that weird. I think
Like tentacle thing.
yeah, I think the tentacle thing was like a singularity, like
That's what I had assumed too, because
Yeah.
they were trying to transport it from one place to another because they were trying to keep it asleep, right?
Yeah.
So it felt like it was maybe like an AI that became self-aware or something.
So that's what they think God is this AI that has seeded this planet to make it.
It almost feels like maybe that ship crashed into this planet.
Yeah, remember all
And-
the escape pods? I think that's what the original humans were.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like what they're digging up, like these weapons and stuff are just like maybe pieces of the ship.
Yeah, I
This
think
giant
so.
ship. Yeah.
That's my guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
if
me
it's-
too.
We'll find. Hopefully, we'll find out.
I know. I hope we find out soon.
So there's more about that stuff, more flashbacks. Then there's a great scene. So everyone goes back on the Yggdrasil and they see that Faye is coming right for them, and he's in his id form, and he's got his mechs in the red form, and Ellie runs off the bridge.
This is really cool, actually.
This is pretty fun scene. Ellie runs off the bridge. She goes into her mech and then like hugs Faye until she can stop him.
Well, like she hugs him and then he like punches her through her mech or whatever, and then a bunch of like lightning flies out, and then she passes out, and then it is like, oh no, I can feel like Faye awakening, and then he falls over.
Well, doesn't Ramsus also show up and be like, I'm super powerful now, you shouldn't have bugged me in
Oh,
high
that's
school?
right, yeah.
And I guess Ramsus, I don't know if Ramsus is from Elru, which is that city that Id destroyed, but
I don't know.
it's basically Id was working as Graf's assassin. They mentioned that. And he destroyed this town where that one girl, Desdemona or whatever her name is from, she's from this city. And I think that's also, it injured Carr at the time. And that's why Ramsus hates Faye so much. Is like he was super injured by Faye, and as Faye destroyed this town. There's a lot more here. I'm kind of scrolling through hours of talk.
It's a lot of dialogue here.
I guess this is the end of the disc. So yes, so that's it. So Ramsus shows up again and then does zap. He totally zaps Ellie and Faye, and the robot gets knocked out of the sky. And the last thing you see is Ellie and Faye, by the destroyed Weltall, who has been wrecked.
Matt, you're muted.
Walter.
Oh, actually, no, sorry. There was one more. There's one more Gazelle Ministry thing, but I won't read it all.
Is there?
Yeah. Because they start talking about the Anima Relic and Rama. That doesn't even matter. Oh, right. Ramsus gets the perfect gear, right? Yeah. And that's what the perfect gear is. What wrecks Faye's gear.
I don't know anymore, John. We've been recording for 3 hours. Anything you say
But yeah,
could
I
be
think
true
we'll
or
just
false.
finish it
I
here.
wouldn't know.
A lot more stuff happens. There's a lot of words, but Ramsus is very happy that he defeats Faye and says, I win. I'm not the worthless one. And then he flies away.
Cool.
And he's like, oh, I was supposed to rescue Ellie, but I guess I can't. Oh, well.
Weird way to trauma dump on all of us, but thank you.
Yeah.
Who are you
And then
again?
Ellie,
Who are
Faye's
you?
trying to save...
And why are you doing this?
Faye is trying to save Ellie's life, and as Gray, half invisible Graph, as he half invisibly watches Faye carry Ellie away from the wreck. End of disc 1.
Woohoo!
We did it.
It's a nightmare.
So, yeah, I think the rest of the game's going to be like this.
I think the rest of the game
I feel like
is going to be cutscenes. I don't think that you'll pick up the fucking controller again other than to hit A. And
No, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of awful dungeons.
Not even cutscenes. I think there's a few parts where you play, but it's not even cutscenes.
Text.
It's like it shows the
I don't know how we're
character
gonna cover
who's
this.
narrating sitting in a chair, and then endless text scrolls is what is what
I
I've seen.
legitimately think that at some point, we might have to figure out how to condense it, because I don't know what we're going to do. Nothing
There's a
happens,
lot.
but they talk.
Well, I guess we'll find out. Yeah, I don't...
What are we playing to next
your mom's
time,
house.
JB?
Oh, let me look at the guide. 1 second, sorry. Xenogears. It's so hard to tell, though, but let me see the FAQ here. All right, disc 2. Before we get to Paradise, I guess? It's 5 chapters of the game. There's 60. So we get into McMahon. And that seems like a good place to end it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, that sounds great. Listeners. Matt, what are you? Oh, never mind. Jim, what are you squarely against?
I will say that I am roundly for all the Faye-related plot stuff. I think the whole Id thing is neat. I like the whole lore of him being the contact and the kind of chosen one, a Moses-like figure for all the humans on Earth. And I also really like all the stuff related to Solaris and the Empire, or the Emperor. I think it's really cool. I'm really digging all the lore of this game. I don't really like all the character stuff. I think a lot of that's kind of boring, but all the lore stuff as it relates to God and all that, I think it's neat and interesting, and I feel like there's a lot of depth there.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, John? What are you squarely against?
I honestly, when I have to force myself to sit down and play this, my body...
Oh, you always seem like you're dreading it so much. I guess
it just puts me in a terrible mood too, because I just don't enjoy playing this game. It's, I think, one of the two, other than Bard's Tale, which is its own thing, one of the two most hard to play, just painful games to get through. It's
Yeah.
a lot. And if you love this game, I can totally see why. I think if you're a teenager too, and you know all this stuff is neat and new, and you have a lot of free time, and you're not trying to get through this as well as like working on a new pilot,
Yeah.
or whatever life stuff is throwing your way, it's fine. But it's just so long, and I just find it's a hard game to like rush through because there's so much to it.
Yeah.
And
I feel like the game is not the folks who made the game did not ask themselves what's the best way to present this story. It's like almost like we need to not cram in, but we need to find a way to put in all this stuff that we want to put in. And they did it very inelegantly in a way that like makes you not enjoy playing the game.
Well, it kind of reminds me of like when a famous director or actor or something gets their own series and they have full creative control, and then it kind of sucks because they have full creative control and no one's editing them.
Yeah, it's like it feels. Yes, this game needed an editor.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, that's true. It does feel like there needs to be an editor in here.
Is Vanessa around?
Vanessa here.
Hi, Vanessa. Do you have anything that you're pro or con or roundly for or squarely against this chunker?
Yep, I think it was great when they ate the Soylent. I liked how excited they were for a found snack. A lot of people, when you find food out in the world, like on the side of the road or in a bin or something like that, they don't just dive right in, but these people had the courage of their convictions, and they enjoyed their found snack, and I'm really impressed that they kept it down once they discovered what Soylent actually was.
Have you ever eaten like a fully sealed candy bar on the ground that you found?
No.
No,
Is
I
it
don't
melted?
think so.
I have. No, not melted at all. Just like a Three Musketeers bar, still in wrapper on the floor. I'll eat that.
I wouldn't eat a Three Musketeers anyway. That's a
Okay.
trash bar.
Matt will return in a little bit to talk about what he is. Is there any quick email, Vanessa or Jim?
I don't think we got any emails.
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, then, Jim, why don't you tell us about the Patreon?
Sure, we do have a Patreon that helps keep the podcast afloat. At the $3 tier, you get access to all of our bonus content. Every Patreon bonus episode that we've done is at the $3 level, which includes level ups. We've done some movie reviews. I kind of like the way that we're doing it now, where each month we kind of rotate who gets to pick the flavor of the bonus episode. So that's cool. So this is June, which is my month, meaning we're gonna play Indigo Prophecy.
I'm very excited. I did play I streamed the first hour.
I loved watching you do the David Cage tutorial, which I had never seen before because I had always skipped it. So watching you play it was really
Vanessa,
funny.
have you played Indigo Prophecy yet?
It's a
Vanessa here. I have not played it yet.
Good. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that has not already played the entirety of the game that we're going to record an episode of at the end of the month. Jim! You motherfucker!
I've already played the entire thing. I'll probably play through it again. Just because I want to see what some of the other alternative choices are. There's a few different endings. I think maybe 4 or 5 different endings. But yeah, so that's what we're doing this month. And then at the $5 tier, you get access to all that content, plus the ability to vote on the games that we play on the show. Since this is 2022, all the vote winners will be mainline games, meaning we will release them on all of the wider platforms as our regular episodes. Xenogears was a vote winner, and the next one, we're gonna announce that vote. What,
We've
like
already
next week?
announced
We need to put it up this
We just need
weekend.
to put it up.
Well, we've talked
we
about
announced
it, but
it
didn't make
last
it
week.
official.
We need to put it up this weekend. We need to put it up tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. So okay,
It's
so
already
next,
up.
so the vote for
Actually,
next game is
when this episode comes out on Monday.
okay. Yeah. So check out the current poll that's up, and the kind of theme of the next vote is Kingdom Hearts games. So
Jim bullied
there's
us
so
into
many
this, and I
Kingdom
don't know
Hearts
how
entries.
he did it.
I'm fine with it. They're
Not
short.
not
Son of a
bullied. I
bitch,
threw it out there,
Jim
and it's like,
was
yeah,
like, I want to play Kingdom Hearts.
these
John
are
was
fun,
like, how
light,
dare
easy
you,
games to
and
play,
tried
which
to
is
fight him at every
exactly
step of the
what we
way.
need after Xenogears.
But I will say, no anime nonsense after that. I think we've had 3 JRPGs in a row.
I
Well,
almost feel like we need a good Western one to kind of cleanse our palate a little bit.
That's a great. I mean, that could be the next vote after Kingdom Hearts would be like Western RPGs. Maybe we could put Dragon Age Inquisition on there.
But yeah, so if you'd like to sign up for the Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/SquareRootsPodcast. And as a final benefit to all of our patrons, no matter what tier they subscribe to, we usually try to read a few of the Patreon usernames. So I will actually kick us off this week by thanking Julian Curtis, Joshua Rose, David Arnold, Amanda Parsons, Esteban Gonzalez, Mike Klein, James, Rachel, Evan K, Seth G, Kyle, Wishbone is Gay, and Kodab Games.
That was after the string of normal names. That was a good one.
Who wants to go next? Vanessa?
You have to toss it. Toss it.
Oh, Vanessa, who would you like to thank?
Vanessa is here.
I would like to thank Vanessa here. I would like to thank Eduardo Franco, Amadeus Amadeus, Chad Wilson, RP Siege, Sundress Dong Shadows, Angel, Butts on Parade, Vanessa Fan, that's me, Magpie Juju, Kristen Ingram, Eric Pickamini, and Keys Be Knights.
I'd like to thank Eric Poirier, Adam Ha, Metal
That's
Gear
not how
Solid 2
tossing
and
things works, John.
Oh, sorry.
Vanessa toss it to me so I can reread his list.
Yes.
I'd like to toss it to Matt.
I would like to thank Eric Poirier, Adam H, Metal Gear Solid 2 in 2022, Jesse's Mom's Pizza, Jeremy Schreffler, Cerebus Minotaur, DP 2099, Tyler Crump, Ian Frederick, Zachary Train, and Your Platforming is Bad, and You Should Feel Bad. John, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Johnny Five Alive, Xenogussie. No pithy profile name this week. I'm on break. This has been a long break. You need a pithy profile name.
I know, long break.
You know what really grinds
Been a
my
long
Xenogears? Rubber Bear. Nia Mazzini, Kida Renee Princess Fuentes wants to make the world smooth. Arthur A, Aiden Marriott, Fresh Eyes, WWE Mike G, Dylan Rowe, and Dova Keen's Discount Dragon Barn.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, our email address is squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or find us on Twitter at Square Roots Pod.
Please rate, review, and subscribe. Really, do it on iTunes, Ghana, wherever you listen to podcasts. And thanks to Stephen Morris for our theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige and on YouTube. Links in the show notes.
We did it.
Hey, Spotify listeners, for all our classic episodes, check
That's a
out our
drunk.
archive at squareroots.libsyn.com. We're on our Square Roots RSS feed.
All right, everyone, for Square Roots, I'm Jim
I
Banks.
drank all the beer in my house.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
Vanessa!
Bye.
A fun bonus, re-listen to this episode at half speed, and we'll all sound very... I love listening to podcasts at half speed. It's an amazing option because everyone sounds wasted. I think I've talked about that before on the show.
I'm not drunk. I had a milkshake.
Full of booze.
Last time on Square Roots, Faye wrecks all the gatekeepers. Don't tell me how I can play RPGs, you jerks. Also, he adopts a brand new baby Terra.
But it was
that
canon can't play JRPGs.
Sorry, I'll do it again.
Now, was that supposed to be like Vanessa telling the listeners, like, don't tell me how I
gatekeepers.
can and
I get
can't
it.
play
Okay.
JRPGs?
Yeah.
Put some
yeah.
stank on it, please, Vanessa, for this
Yeah,
next
a
line
little
reading.
Vanessa
Okay,
sass.
well, oh, no, don't give me a line reading
Okay.
after say that.
Don't notes? No notes? No notes? Is that what you're saying?
I can take notes, but
don't-
I'm not going to mimic how you do it. Let me bring my own energy.
Well, I
to
was
the
just trying
last
to. I was trying to
Yeah.
show you the energy, not tell you exactly how
No,
to
but
do
that
it.
is giving her a line reading.
All right. You're right. Thank
Yeah.
you. I apologize, and if you need 5 in your trailer, that's fine. I understand. Everybody, we're gonna take 5.
Yep. I'm a
Everyone
professional.
hotbox
I can
Vanessa's
continue.
trailer with farts.
I'm leaving all this in.
Feel comfortable.
Yeah, I'm gonna go poke my head out and make sure that my children are alive. I'll be right back.
Oh, the COVID, and nobody knows it was me.
I gave Paul COVID.
I'm gonna give Paul COVID. I used to sing, and no one would be infected by my droplets. Now they are.
I
I
think
can't
that's
think of any
crazy.
Dave Matthews songs to.
Because don't viruses have like parts of the DNA of their former hosts, like written into them? So it's like now Paul has little bits of Dave Matthews DNA in his bloodstream.
Oh man, go get that checked out, bud.
We really should reach out to poor Paul here and just let him know. Let me see.
Let him know that he has Dave Matthews DNA in his bloodstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, go do it right now while Matt's doing his thing.
You have Dave Matthews DNA in your bloodstream. Dave Matthews loves getting up in people. That's what he sings about.
He's all about like infecting people one way or the other. He's like, I'll smear them with my poop. I'll give them COVID. I guess we do have to cut this out.
What about
I'll
his poop?
give you an... You
What?
know when there was that time where he dropped his poop from a bridge and...
Oh, his tour bus.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you meant like he
No.
like actually
No.
physically smeared his poop on someone.
Maybe.
Those rock stars, capable of anything.
They are.
Can we get into the quest log now?
I guess so. You know, Matt's not here, but that's okay.